Broadcast and Arts Live of the 2022 football season. Football's in the air. We're excited to be here in Willacy County, Raymondville, Texas, at Burnett Stadium, home of the Raymondville Bearcats. Kevin Aro, Marco Monguia to my left, and it's the first scrimmage of the year. The Raymondville Bearcats here at home, playing host to Brownsville St. Joe. Welcome aboard, Marco. Football's here, scrimmage number 1. Right here.
Yes, definitely, Kevin. Thanks for having me, guys. Welcome back, right? Welcome back, football. I think this is a moment everybody's been waiting for quite a while now. We are here, and just the excitement is in the air. Friday night football in high school, Saturday college is coming around, Sunday NFL. This is every man's dream, right?
Yes.
I think we're all very excited, and every football fan, man, woman, whoever, this is what we've been waiting for, and we're excited. But here we are at Raymondville at Burnett Stadium at Coach Ray Solis Field, and we have the Bearcats hosting St. Joe. Kevin, I know you were out there yesterday. What's the word on the St. Joe side?
Well, coming into this year, a brand new year, right, and a new look Bloodhound team. They do lose their quarterback, Luigi Cristiano, to graduation, but in comes Ethan Gallegos, a transfer from Weslaco. There's no secret there. A lot of weapons, St. Joe, that they have on the offensive side. Adrian Del Pozo is looking to take that next step. On the offensive side, he grew 2 inches from what Coach Tino Villarreal told me. He's a solid 6 foot right now. He's the utility weapon, the way you see in baseball. That's what they call him, DP, Del Pozo. That's what DP does for Brownsville St. Joe. He's going to be looking to play a key role this year. And, of course, St. Joe and TAPS, small school, you're going to see a lot of guys go both ways, a lot like Raymondville. This is going to be the controlled portion part of the scrimmage. So we're going to run you down through the format here on the controlled portion. You're looking at 15 plays starting from the 30-yard line for the ones.
And already you see Raymondville right out the gate takes it and gets their first touchdown on there in this controlled portion. I guess that would be a point for Raymondville.
Yes, so in the controlled portion, they're going to go point. In the 2 live quarters that we will have, it's going to be the traditional 6 points with the extra point as well. So that's play number 1. So they're going to go 15 and 15 with their ones, and then they're going to go 10 and 10 with their twos, also starting at the 30. And then once you get into the second round of the controlled portion, they're going to start at the 40-yard line, and they're going to go 15 and 15, and then 10 and 10. And then we're going to get into the live portion.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm sure that Coach Frank Cantu was excited to get that ball into Christopher Guerrero's hands, and he was off to the races. If there was a way they wanted to start things off for this whole season, maybe set the tone, that would be awesome if that's the way that they're going to be. And Coach Cantu couldn't be happier with just that first play. But here we go, and actually taking over for the QB duties for the Bearcats, and that's good old Diego Gutierrez, who was a mountain of a young man, and he's taking the place of Jason Cantu, who graduated last year. Jason Cantu up at Our Lady of the Lake signed himself a baseball scholarship, but his quarterbacking duties is left in good hands with Diego Gutierrez. Gutierrez, a good-sized boy. If you guys see him, standing 6 foot, 235, but quick and strong. He likes the contact. He's the kind of runner that if he's going to pull it down, he's not going to finesse you. He's going to run over you.
And he's a senior this year, so he's going to be that plug-in and play type senior for Coach Frank Cantu and the Bearcats.
Definitely there, Kevin. We're looking at some more names out here for the Bearcats on the offensive side. We look at their line. They've got themselves a stout line, and leading that is Nick Gomez. Nick Gomez, number 55, senior. Now, this kid is a powerhouse. I know that he medaled in state last year in powerlifting, so that can tell you, in that 4A and state to be up in the top. I want to say he came in second and stayed in the 4A. He got the silver, so this kid's coming in strong. And Nick, let's talk about Nick's size and stature. We're looking at 6'3", 315, and he's the anchor of that O-line. And I'll tell you what, whoever's going to get the ball, they're saying just follow Nick. Look for 55 and go right up his back. So here come the Bearcats, who usually run their spread offense, and then they come out in multiple formations from that. Nifty run there. That Gus Oviedo with the ball.
It's kind of like just backyard football. You give the ball to your best player and you run behind your best blocker. Just simple, an X's and O's right there for Raymondville.
No, definitely not much. Keep it simple. The acronym is KISS. Keep it simple, silly. Give the ball to your fastest and follow your biggest, right? Why not? That's that hard-nosed football style that the Bearcats have been known to play.
And so far, so good for this offense. There's going to be nerves. There's going to be butterflies. First scrimmage of the year and a good cut. Right now, this running game slicing right through the St. Joe defense. Ethan Barhart, the sophomore.
Yeah, imagine that. Being a sophomore, getting the ball here, imagine the nerves. You know what I mean? Big game, big lights, playing on that varsity level as a sophomore. But that says a lot about this kid. This kid must be special, getting the ball already as a sophomore and making a good little run there. So that's Ethan Barnhart bringing it on that one. The kid must have some speed on him. Speaking of Coach Cantu, someone has said that he's getting close to about 30 years here in Raymondville as a coach, and not as the head coach status, but in the coaching system. And of course, he's taken over as the head coach for quite a while now. But this guy, he probably bleeds blue and gold. From here, graduated from here, worked here for almost 30 years or so, and now leading this football team. Last season they had some struggles. They moved into a district that was big. They faced the likes of Sinton and Ingleside in their district last year with those Coastal Bend teams. But the realignment this year, he's looking very hopeful. And it's a 4-team district in this year,
yep.
Kevin. A 4-team district, so all 4 teams are going to go to the playoffs. Now,
right.
What seed are they going to go? That's the big question.
Right.
You just talk about those 4 teams a little bit, Kevin. You got Raymondville, you got PI, you got La Grulla, and coming up to the 4A is Bishop.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that, Kevin?
Well, I think first and foremost, you want to stay healthy. That's key number one is stay healthy, and you want to be playing good football at the right time. And looking at the district, PI has got to be the favorite on paper with what they're doing and what they did last year with Tony V back there at the helm.
Yes.
So you're looking at Bishop, who's also taking that step down from 4A down to 3A. They got a new coaching regime up there with the Badgers, and they had a good season last year. So really, it's a toss-up this year, and it's going to be more competitive than people might see it out to be. Because let's be honest, you look at the standings and you say, a 4-team district, it's kind of easy to just overlook. Good move to the outside. And, this is a really impressive drive for Raymondville. Gutierrez has laced in a couple of tough throws. He's hitting his receivers on the dot. He connected with Guajardo a couple of plays before. So I think if you're Frank Cantu, you're pretty pleased with how this offense is operating. But, back to the 4-team district, we were talking off the air. I'll say it. I'm not a fan of it. I wish there was a way around it. I don't even like 6-team districts.
Yeah.
I'm like, seeing the last realignment, the discussion was to divide it where you had, Ingleside, the Sintons, just to have Robstown slide down, just to make it at least a 5-team district the last go-around, the last realignment. But I know Robstown would they weren't too fond of being separated from their Coastal Bend teams. Gutierrez out to his left, back of the end zone and incomplete. But, Bishop's going to be an interesting team. It's going to be a new look because traditionally the Valley schools, particularly, Willacy County, does not see Bishop too often. So them moving down to 3A will be something to keep an eye on. But, I'm excited to see what Port Isabel does. And, one thing you learned about, Raymondville and Lyford and here in Willacy County, they're always going to have athletes.
That's for sure. They come out of the woodworks, let me tell you, and their speed, their size, they're going to come. They're going to bring it. And the other thing is their competitive nature. Any school here in Willacy County is going to be a very competitive school that comes from. And back to that district we were talking about, I've heard many say that PI is the favorite to win this district, and that's going to be a big game down the line, because I think Raymondville, if anybody in this district is going to give PI the run for their money, is going to be Raymondville, and that's going to be a big matchup down in October the 14th. And that'll be here in Raymondville, and that's going to be a big one. Bishop moving on up to the 4A. Last year I got to see Bishop when I called the Lyford game, and Bishop had some things going for them, and they're just going to build on that one. La Grulla, you know what? I saw Grulla in La Feria last year, and La Feria was a great team, and Grulla was going touchdown for touchdown with them when I called the game in La Feria. But I'll tell you what, with that La Feria group, if you didn't stop them one defensive drive, then you were going to be down 7.
Well, the funny thing is that it's one of those things where, that one team always plays that one team tough. They always have their number. It's always going to be interesting. That's always been the case with Grulla and La Feria, especially when La Feria goes to Grulla for some weird reason. La Feria, not that they struggle with them, but it always makes for an interesting matchup. And when you said they went touchdown for touchdown with them, that sounds about right, because that's what those two always tend to do.
If I remember correctly, the deciding factor in that game was that La Feria got the ball back after halftime. They scored a touchdown before halftime, and then they received the ball after halftime. And if you don't stop them in one drive, here's a deep, nice pass there, just a little off the target, but nice throw. And that was the big difference, that they scored before the half, and then they got the ball back and scored after the half. And after that, it was a little tough for Grulla to come back up. But it's going to be a fun district. And like you said, even though it's a 4-team district, I think it's going to be a very fun district to watch, and just to see how the playoff seedings end up here. So Raymondville finishes up theirs there. And it's St. Joe time for them to get the ball. Is that right, Kevin?
Yes. So overall, I know it was just the first drive for their ones, but I thought.
Okay, now.
So it's a new.
Okay,
right?
There we go. So
okay.
Raymondville still has the ball. So Raymondville still has their possession here, and they're trying to figure out their personnel on the field as Gutierrez back in that shotgun with a trips right formation here, and let's see if they're going to air it out. Waiting on that snap, and here he comes. Gutierrez rolling out to his right, looking at his reads. He wants the deep ball. He has a man open, and it's a one-handed grab. But drop there at the end. That would have been a catch. Maybe I know it's too soon to say, but if he would have completed that might have been a catch of the year.
Yeah, Olmeda almost. Did we get that?
No, we didn't. But if he would have caught it, I would have definitely. I would have definitely been all over that highlight. But we might have got the very end of it. Let's take a look here. Oh, he's already coming back, so we just missed it. But that was a great opportunity there. Just barely missed the mark as he almost caught that ball. That would have been a great catch. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this scrimmage on Real Sports Live. We got you on YouTube and Facebook today. This game will be recorded for our St. Joe fans as well, correct? St. Joe has their own channel on Real Sports Live?
Yes, on the St. Joe channel as early as tomorrow. So today it's on the Real Sports Live social media sites like you mentioned, Marco, and then tomorrow it'll be on the St. Joe channel. And it's just one step forward in what Real Sports Live is continuing to build, and more schools are continuing to sign on, and they see that there's St. Joe content flowing 24 hours a day, and other teams, other programs are wanting a piece of the pie. So,
well, I tell you what, I mean, if I'm leading up a school and someone says, "Wait, St. Joe has their own channel? Why don't we have our own channel?"
Right.
Right. Everybody should want their own channel, highlight their school, highlight their fields. Look at this beautiful field. Speaking of, Coach Ray Solis Field here at Burnett Stadium, just a beautiful field. Brand new turf. Look at that Bearcat there in the middle. They were kind of worried it wouldn't be ready for tonight. The track blinds aren't painted, but hey, the football field is ready to rock and roll, and that's all that matters right now. So everyone's excited. I know the city of Raymondville is ecstatic to have this field going, and it's just a beautiful stadium altogether. Their scoreboard to their new turf field Everybody should come on out at some point in time and catch a game here at Raymondville High School, Burnett Stadium, Coach Ray Solis Field. Just beautifully done.
So the ones still out on the turf for Raymondville and St. Joe.
Dead S looking for his read. He wants to go deep. It's a nice ball deep, but a little too deep as the receiver can't get to that. I think that was Barnhart who was the intended receiver.
So be sure to follow us on our social media sites at Rio Sports Live on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Along with the new school year, the new calendar year, comes the athletics. And we kicked off volleyball coverage earlier this week on Tuesday, and then we've been covering the Pound Fest down in McAllen yesterday and today with pool play. Tomorrow will be Championship Saturday at the Pound Fest at Mac High, and we'll also have games at the Donna tournament, so a little mid-Upper Valley volleyball there for on a Saturday afternoon. This game is the first scrimmage not only for these two teams, but the first football game we broadcast here in 2022. So the St. Joe Ones are on the turf, and that's their offense. They're in the all-white uniforms led by senior quarterback Ethan Gallegos, the senior transfer from Weslaco. And he's got some shoes to fill for former quarterback Luigi Cristiano.
Yeah, we were speaking earlier, Kevin. Remember, I brought up how I had the privilege to go call a game out there in St. Joe last year against St. Paul, right?
John Paul II.
John Paul II. And wow, that was an extremely fun game to watch and call, because just his offense, he likes to light it up. And last year they had the personnel to do so, and I'm excited to see what he's going to have today. And look at this, right out the gates, pulls it down himself, and he's off to the races. That's Gallegos with a nice little run and scramble.
Yeah, so Gallegos, it's going to be a change of pace at quarterback, because right there I guarantee we wouldn't have seen that the last 3 years with Luigi, Big Lou, at the quarterback position. He wasn't much of a runner. He was more of a passer. But with Gallegos, he's going to bring that dual threat dimension, similar to what Kai Money brought before Luigi's time. And we all remember who Kai Money was. Not comparing the two, saying that Gallegos has any hype to live up to. He's going to be his own guy. But the style of the play will be a lot similar with Gallegos playing the quarterback position.
You know, St. Joe always has skilled players at their skilled positions. They make the most of what they can. Their yards after catch is just tremendous, is what they can do when the ball's in their hand. And then after that, so they'll be a fun team to watch as they get through their season as well.
And the guy who just carried the football there, Juan Pablo Vidauti, just JP Vidauti. Last year he went down with a collarbone injury, and that was a tough blow for that St. Joe offense. And he's going to be the key guy at running back for St. Joe. And having Vidauti back, he's a junior, back healthy. He looked good, real good yesterday in practice. He added some weight in the offseason, and having him back, it's going to be a big piece for this St. Joe offense. Like you mentioned, there's plenty of athletes. They always have speed.
On the Raymondville's defensive side, you got a linebacker core that's got a lot of hype this year. Linebackers consisting of Hunter Posas, Chris Guerrero, and Obed Almeida. These guys are supposed to be the real deal on this linebacking trio, and I know Coach Cantu, after talking to him earlier this week, he's really excited. Hunter Posas, with a name like Hunter, he's hunting for that ball. He's scoped on, and last year he had some really big pops last year, and they're expecting that same type of leadership from Hunter down at that middle linebacker position. So he's going to be a fun guy to watch. I've seen his name come up to maybe one of the top linebackers in the Valley, as a matter of fact.
And, of course, his older brother, Jacob Posas, was the quarterback here not too long ago for the Bearcats. Faked the jet sweep. Gallegos will keep it himself. He'll shake off one man at the 50 out to about the 44-yard line. And that's, we talked about, the Bearcat offense, and we talked about how St. Joe is always just funneling in athletes. Same thing with Raymondville. Was it Daniel Gutierrez? Was the older,
Yeah,
the older brother, the quarterback, a couple of years
is
ago?
Diego's older brother, and he was the Bearcat quarterback a couple years back. And then on top of that, a couple more years back, their oldest brother, Carlos Dominguez, was the quarterback here in Raymondville. And then there was other family members. Raleigh Garza was the quarterback here back in '98, '99, and that's one of their cousins too. The bloodline there runs deep. For quarterback position here in Raymondville.
And then you talk about guys like Zaravion Armendariz, who was just a once in a decade type athlete. Those guys don't come around too often. But the point being that they're Dylan Ramirez on the defensive side, kid that was an all-state linebacker. Was able to play a linebacker and then come off the end. They've had plenty of athletes to come on the defensive side as well.
For sure, we brought up Jason Cantu earlier, who was just an all-sport, all-around. Football, basketball, baseball, and even track, throwing the shot put.
Golf.
Yeah, golf. Yeah, exactly. Jason left here and graduated, moved on once again. He'll be playing baseball up at Our Lady of the Lake. But imagine, he probably could have played football somewhere. He could have played basketball somewhere, and he chose to stick with baseball, which has been one of his passions. So we talk about athletes, man, they're here. They're here, and they're just getting more exposure, more and more. And I'm going to give some of that credit to Real Sports Live, for putting that out there, putting these kids out there so people can see them, get recognized. Their names are out there, their videos are out there. Who doesn't want the highlight? You know what I mean? These kids work hard, and they deserve all the recognition they can get. So that's awesome, and Real Sports Live doing the best we can to cover as much sports around the valley as we can. And I know, Kevin, you're a busy man. You're here, there, and everywhere. Other than Joe, you're the other face of Real Sports Live, and we're glad that you're here in Raymondville with us today.
I'm excited to be here and excited to do some football. It's Gallegos.
There we go. Shakes a tackle there. Nice little run. He might have gotten to that first down marker.
He's definitely showing off some mobility and some athleticism. I know when I visited with them back during a spring ball, it was still a matter of just learning the X's and O's, learning the ins and outs. But, to your point about, these athletes being able to be seen and watched and heard and read about, back at the Pony World Series, I talked with one of the coaches from Houston, Victoria. We were right around the same class. I think she was, 09 and I was 10. And we were saying, well, when we played, which it wasn't too long ago, but it kind of was a little while back, more or less, 2010, 2009. But we didn't have Huddle. We didn't have Twitter or Instagram where we can or Real Sports Live where the games are being watched and you can just simply go home and screen record your 70-yard touchdown and post it and tag colleges or coaches or anything like that. I think her and I mentioned that we had to have someone go out and record our practices, download it to a floppy disk or a DVD, maybe even.
We had to find somebody that could edit and put all that stuff together.
And it took a while. It wasn't instant to where it's done, within 10 minutes.
Well, let me tell you, Kevin. When I first started with Real Sports Live, we were still with the paper.
Yes.
And we were play-by-play audio.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for the Bearcat faithful, I've been calling their games here for a while since then. And for those of our viewers that are watching today, they might remember that when it was just play-by-play audio. So we were just listening to games.
Well, that is a testament to UIL, and I'm so happy that they jumped into the 21st century and accepted the fact that, hey, we as the state can watch football on a Friday night. It's out there, because remember they only allowed video and audio Thursday and Saturday. Football was only audio.
Yeah, Friday nights were a no-no.
Right.
Through UIL.
And, the COVID year, obviously they made that exception. That pass completed to Lucas Cristiano. They bent the rules. rightfully so for the situation we were in, but they looked at it and they saw how popular it was. And look, people are still going to go to the games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're still going to go.
Definitely.
You know,
there's nothing like the real thing.
right,
Being at the stadium,
right.
hearing the lights, under the lights, hearing the band, the cheerleaders, the actual crunch. There's nothing like being at the actual game. But there are situations that people cannot make it out here.
Right.
Or we have family members that live miles and miles
Right.
away, or
Right.
our parents that are working on the roads,
Right.
and they're still able to watch on their phone or through like YouTube and Facebook and so on and so forth. And that's that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. And once again, when we went through that pandemic, and no fans were allowed. You remember that? When they
Right.
some fans
Right.
they weren't allowed at the stadiums. Guess who brought it to them?
Right.
We were
right.
here. We were here, and we were blessed to be able
Right.
to bring that video to parents and grandparents and families and friends. So it's been a tremendous ride, man. The growth
Right.
of everything, and we're blessed to be here and watching football live. And I'm glad everybody. Thanks for tuning in once again to Real Sports Live as we bring you this scrimmage here tonight.
And they allowed it, the 2021, and then here into 2022, and they allowed it again. So I think it's just it's a win-win situation for everybody. St. Joe at the 41-yard line, coming out of the spread two-back set, sending a man in motion out into the slot is Eduardo Garcia. Gallegos steps back, finds a soft spot, bobbled, caught at the 50, tackled from behind. Brandon Granado on the reception.
Nice little catch there, a little focus on that bobble, little hand drill there. Good focus.
The South Padre Island split screen. But yeah, it's a good thing, not only for football, but you get into football and volleyball, then you jump into basketball, soccer, you get into softball and baseball, and we've had multiple parents say that they're truck drivers,
Yes,
and they have it on their phone,
yes,
or these kids can go back and watch the games on their phone, because everything's practically done on your phone these days.
and that's what they like to do. What's better to learn than to watch your own games and how you played. I know these guys probably come in Saturday mornings and they watch their film with their coaches after the coaches have broken it down. But the guys now have it right there. They probably have access to their huddle, so on and so forth. But we have it too, and these guys learn. We're looking at that. I'm looking at that D line of the Bearcats, and you see Nick Gomez and Lando Cantu, the two big boys, stuffing up that middle, and Coach Cantu was saying that those guys are just going to anchor down that D-line and try to stuff up anything that may come. There's Big Nick with a shot and just hits all around. And I told you, I was telling you about Nick Gomez, and he just laid out on that big shot.
Ethan Gallegos got up.
He
Thankfully, got up,
yes.
and Lin Cristiano held on to the catch right there.
Yeah, big catch, yes, wow.
Two big plays.
I'll tell you what, I'm telling you, these guys, they're hungry. They've been hitting each other for so long, and this is their first chance at some opponents, and so they're excited, they're fired up. They want to make their statement here early to set the tone for the rest of the year. Both of these teams are ready to compete, and they're hungry and they're excited, as are we. As are we that we got football back. Well, thank everybody once again, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We had a question about it rained here in Raymondville earlier today, and someone said, "Well, does the field get affected with rain now that it's turf?"
No,
we're good.
I don't
no,
think, I
we're
don't
good,
think it does,
right?
as far as I know.
Not like it was natural grass where it
Yeah.
could be muddy or with the turf field. That's why you have those opportunities, and that's why a lot of coaches want to go to that. They want to go to the turf because it's all terrain, because it can take that weather. It can get rained on, and so on and so forth, and you're not dealing what you have to deal with grass, natural grass. And we love natural grass. I mean, that's what we grew up with. You know what I mean? But nowadays, over here in Raymondville, their softball fields, their baseball fields have been redone. They're all turf. Their football field was done this summer. So nice facilities, and they're year-round. They're ready to go. Kevin, speaking of the baseball and softball fields, Real Sports Live, they held their baseball, softball stars games here on Raymondville.
Yeah, the showcases, they were held here in late June for softball and then about mid-July for baseball. So just coming back here just reminds me of the showcases. They were both a success. Baseball we had in the middle of July. We had teams from the Coastal Bend and throughout the RGV compete. We can from where we're sitting, you can see the baseball field right from where we're at. It's very nice. When I played, turf was a rare thing. I think maybe we had, maybe just Robstown that might have had turf that we would play. Other than that, everyone was all grass. But then the softball weekend that we had was amazing. The home run derby was the
highlights.
That was the highlight, the cherry on top. The funny thing is that Lily Rocha, who won the home run derby, put a dent in the scoreboard on the top where the tee is at.
Mark, huh?
Yeah, and they're like, "We just put that up." I was like, "Sorry." Baron was like, "We just barely put that up," and they're over here breaking things. I'm like, "Sorry," but. It was so much fun. We had 6 teams, 3 from here and 3 from the Coastal Bend, and just the talent level that we had competing. Danae Hernandez was a Lady Bearcat representing.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching her play. She was that, your typical small school athlete where she's going to play volleyball, she's going to play softball, she's going to play basketball, and she did a little bit of everything. So she represented Raymondville in that showcase, but
and she's off and away. She just took off. She's out, and she's going to go play over at Lamar State. So she's a Seahawk now, and she'll be showcasing her softball talents and representing her hometown of Raymondville over at Lamar State University. Which is exciting. Good job, and congratulations. We talked about Jason going off to play. Oh, there we go. We got Danae Hernandez as well from Raymondville going and play softball. Well, that's fantastic.
And a special shout out, to Coach Frank Cantu for allowing us to come into his house and host those 2 showcases. And it was a weekend long event. And the phone calls that we got from Raymondville was that the old adage, if you build it, they will come. It's true. Because actually it was Danae's signing when she signed that day.
Okay.
I said, well, it's 4 o'clock. Let me go see what the softball team is up to, me being me. So I come out, and I had in passing, I had seen they were adding the turf. So I wanted to come by and see the field, and I was talking with Coach Baron, and I said, hey, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Joe and I are thinking about hosting a showcase. And I said, why not here in Raymondville? It's right off 77. We're going to have teams from Corpus. It's a brand new facility, brand new turf. Why not? And she said, well, let me talk to Frank. Took one phone call to Frank. We talked to Frank. And then from there, it was smooth sailing. So again, just a special thank you to all the Raymondville coaches and the city for really opening the doors. I know everyone enjoyed it, both on the baseball and on the softball end. So, that was a lot of fun. That was definitely a lot of fun, and there was a lot of work, a lot of preparation going into it, but definitely something that we look back on a highlight this summer.
Big things happening here, and the more and more, like you said, if they build it, they will come, and it's going to be great for the community of Raymondville. The sports is life here, and Friday night football, and everyone's excited. And speaking of, and looking down the line, looking at Raymondville's schedule this year, we talked about that 4-team district. So how do you feel the rest of the schedule?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's tough because I mean, let's face it. Every realignment, if you haven't been to a realignment, it's fun because it's a lot like Wall Street. Because once the new districts come out, coaches then scramble to find opponents. Gallegos still in the ball game at the 20-yard line. No, St. Joe. We'll get back to the scheduling here, but.
Like you said, Gallegos with that scramble there, and he's showing a lot on his feet compared to last year when we had Cristiano who would just air that ball out like nobody's business. Yeah, Gallegos is doing it on the ground, and I think that might be the way that St. Joe's going to go this year. They're going to have to use that ground game and use his elusiveness to get through their offense, especially when he doesn't see anything that he likes down the field, or if that line doesn't hold up to give him enough time to find something, he's going to break loose.
Excuse me there. I had to get a quick sip of water there.
No problem.
This isn't traditionally what we see in St. Joe, and say this is a lot slower paced drive. You know, St. Joe prides itself on being an up-tempo offense. I know during the Kai Money years, when the late, great Roy Hess, when he would cover St. Joe, bless his heart, Roy was old school. Roy liked keeping his stats with a paper and a pen, and he would keep the box scores, paper and pen, and trying to do that and then keep up with the St. Joe offense at that point in time with Kai Money, it was definitely a chore. But that's what Coach Tino Villarreal likes to do. He's an offensive guy who likes to have that up-tempo. He prides himself on playing quick and as many plays as you can get in. They do drills. So when they go 7-on-7, they go a minute, 2 minutes, and then their goal is to get X amount of plays in. And it's up-tempo, and it's quick, and it's quick, and it's quick.
Boom, boom, boom.
So it's definitely a lot of fun. And then a side story with Tino was that, you know, a lot of people forget that he coached soccer at St. Joe at one point in time.
Okay.
And he started out on staff, and then he became the OC, and then eventually became the head coach about 8 years ago. The crazy thing was with Tino was that he wasn't always a coach, and maybe you and another one of Raymondville's finest, Dan Gomez, might appreciate this, was Tino's into the food business.
Okay.
And Tino, in fact, owns multiple restaurants. The Surfing Crab.
Okay, yeah.
He's the owner
Really?
of
I
that.
did
Yeah,
not
the
know that.
Tino Seafood.
Mm-hmm.
That's Tino Villarreal's company. So Tino is a guy who was into culinary arts, and he likes to cook. He jumped into coaching at St. Joe. So he enters the coaching world, and he's a big Chip Kelly fan. And while Chip Kelly was at Oregon, Marcus Mariota, you know, they're running this up-tempo offense, Tino on his own flies to Oregon to meet Chip Kelly. So Tino shows up at the University of Oregon in Chip Kelly's office, and he meets the secretary and says, "Hi, my name's Tino Villarreal. I'm a coach down at St. Joe. I'm just looking to learn anything I can. Can I meet with Coach Kelly?" So the secretary then says, "Well, do you have an appointment?" He says, "Well, no." He says, "Well, does he even know you're coming?" "No." So here's a guy that just hops in a plane from Brownsville all the way to Oregon.
Just a knock on the door.
Just to knock on Coach Kelly's door. So she says, "Well, Coach, you're more than welcome to sit in, but I can tell you now, he's not going to be in all day. No, I'll wait. So Tino sat and waited and waited and waited until the next day he finally was able to meet up with Coach Kelly and pick his brain a little bit. He later got an invitation to a coaches convention the following year in Oregon, and then he went back. Then Coach Kelly knew his name, knew who he was.
Okay.
And then it's like a coaching school.
Mm-hmm.
So then he goes into coaching school, and he's learning X's and O's. But then the cool thing is I don't remember his name, but his OC was like, "Hey, we're having a barbecue tomorrow night. Come on over." So Tino then goes to the barbecue and meets, you know, all these different coaches, and then that's where the good stuff was. That's where the real X's and O's.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you know, you're having a
It's not the taco.
sirloin and a couple of drinks, and you're really learning the ins and outs.
It's not in the coach's office. It's not in the meeting room.
No,
it's in
you're
the backyard.
Right.
That's when the good stuff comes.
Right. So that was a fun story that I know Tino had shared with me. And
Well, you know, it's more personal that way.
Yeah.
You know, and you just get more out of it. You're in the coach's office, you're in the meeting rooms. Yeah, that's business. But you get to the secrets in there, and it
Right.
really comes out.
Right.
And I think this is the Bearcats' second group out now.
Right.
This is their second group out. They're twos and doing the QB duties now. I believe that's number 9, Jacob Garza, who is taking over the QB duties there with a nice little catch and run by Joshua Valdez.
So just a fun side story there. But yeah, the twos are now in. So on the format, we're looking at, there's popcorn delivered to us. All right. There we go. Got some popcorn delivered to us here upstairs. Thank you, sir. So the twos are on the turf, like Coach Munguia mentioned. Let's not forget, Marco Munguia is also a coach. So
yes.
If I refer to him as Coach Munguia, it's because the work hat is on.
Well, with the whole crew on RSL, whenever I show up, hey, coach, hey, coach. But so, yeah, so I'm used to it. It's okay. I have the honor of coaching over at San Perlita ISD. I coach girls varsity basketball as well as their baseball program over there. That's the true red over there, and it's exciting times over there. We're looking forward to a great season and all of our athletics over there. Now, we don't have football, so we just come a couple miles down to watch a game, and I enjoy calling down here, and whether I'm here in Raymondville or in Lyford, head out to La Feria every now and then too, and anywhere you guys assign me, I enjoy just the atmosphere of being around the Friday night lights, and as a former player myself, and you can't get enough of it. Football in South Texas, in Texas in general, it's huge, and we love every minute of it.
The twos will go 10 plays. Just for those wondering at home, the twos are now in for both St. Joe and Raymondville. So. And
look who took over the QB duties. It's Hunter Posas. He said, I'm going for middle linebacker, but give me a couple reps at QB, coach. I'm tough and I'm gritty. Just give me the ball.
And why not? I'm sure somewhere down the line, obviously no one's going to empty the kitchen sink here, but you'll see. I'm pretty sure you could see some wrinkles with an athlete like that. Throw him in there, maybe with some wildcat or maybe some formations that you could use. So maybe some wrinkles that Frank Cantu will implement later. But here is where you see a lot of position battles, a lot of guys who are going to be battling for two spots. Because unfortunately, injuries happen, and let's nice play. And let's be realistic. Grades are also a factor. You just mentioned you're a coach.
Oh yes.
And these are student athletes. Coming first.
Yes,
so
sir.
Grades are a factor. Injuries unfortunately happen. So there's guys out here on the field right now that are playing for potential backup spots, and
that backup spot might become an open spot ahead of you that you move into that starting spot.
Right.
And that's why you just always got to be ready. You can't get frustrated or you can't get upset that you're not that starter, because your moment might come and then you're the next man up and the ball's in your hands and you got to get after it. Hand off here over to Ethan Barnhart. We saw Barnhart at the receiver position earlier. Now he's at the tailback position. So I'm guessing they're expecting big things from him as just a sophomore. And they got a couple sophomores on here. Another sophomore that I've heard about is Slevin Gutierrez, who now he's wearing number 10, which I find fascinating, because he has a brother who graduated back, when was that? Skylar James is his half-brother, and he wore 10 for the Bearcats too. So you got to keep it in the family sometimes. And there we go.
Loose football.
Ball's on the ground, almost crossed the goal line, but popped out right before, and that's a big stop there for St. Joe's defense. We hear a lot about St. Joe's offense, but here we go with St. Joe's defense making a big-time play.
Yeah, that ball just squirted out at the last second there for Posas. We're going to stop. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, more football from Willacy County.
We're Lady Cougars, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Plan your escape. Beach, bay, or both. Sunrises and sunsets daily. Memories made all day. Live music and great food round out your visit. So why wait? SoPadre.com.
We are the Harlingen Lady Cardinals, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
The Brownsville Independent School District continues to provide a safe environment for enriching education. From pre-K-3 to early college high school, the award-winning district has advanced its legacy in curriculum, athletics, and fine arts. Teachers are driving the frontier of technology, bringing industry to the classroom. On and off the field, Brownsville ISD students engage in the experiences that make them college and career ready. Brownsville Independent School District, the best choice.
And he throws it down.
All right, welcome back. Kevin Aro alongside Marco Munguia. First scrimmage of the year here on Real Sports Live on our social media sites, Facebook, YouTube. And just a reminder for the St. Joe fans, you can watch this replay tomorrow on the St. Joe channel as well. And a special shout out to Luigi Cristiano on directing the business side of things when it comes to the St. Joe channel, and it's been a long time coming on building the channel for St. Joe fans. And Tino Villarreal, the head coach and athletic director down at St. Joe, he too also, just being the guy behind the scenes and just, motivating us and telling us, here's the reasons why you should do this, and do this here and do this there, and we can do this, and we can, just giving us all these ideas that we're starting to see come to fruition. And again, the twos are in the ball game. So it's a pretty cool deal with the St. Joe channel, and Tino is he's a UT alum, he's a UT guy, so that's pretty much where this idea stemmed from, was when he thought, Longhorn Network, he's like, why don't a school make their own channel? And then thus became the talks, the ideas, the brainstorming, and there you have it, the Brownsville St. Joe channel. So just a reminder for the St. Joe fans out there that are tuning in, you can always watch this tomorrow on the St. Joe channel. If you're tuning in now, give us a shout out. We'll give you a shout out. Let us know where you're tuning in from, who you're rooting for, whether you're from Brownsville or Willacy County.
We got a shout out already to Juan Zamora. We were talking about how we're thankful to be able to stream these games because some of these guys are working, and we talked about some truck drivers, and he says, I'm on the road now watching. So shout out to Juan Zamora. Thanks for coming in. Also looks like a shout out to Raleigh Garza. I talked about Raleigh earlier. He was a Bearcat quarterback back in 98, 99, led the Bearcats back then. That group of Bearcats went 3 rounds deep, made it to the quarterfinals, beat Sinton, beat Mathis, and we faced Guero in the regional quarterfinals. And Guero was our exit. And Guero went on to the state championship game that year, and they lost that year in the state championship. But that was Raleigh Garza who led that team at the quarterback. And now he has his cousin, his cousin Diego is the quarterback for the Bearcats this year.
So no shame and no secret, in case you caught the we. you were 99?
Yes, that was also my class right there. So
there you go.
I was part of that football team, and we had a great season that year. And the 3 rounds is the farthest that any Bearcat program has gone, and we've seen some really good teams in here. And I always challenge every group that comes through here, hey, get to the third. Get past that second, get to the third. And we wait for it, and the community waits for it. So it's big. People, like I said, the football in Raymondville is big. People love it, and it drives the community, and it brings the community together, and people like to come out here and enjoy everything.
So, Marco Munguia, you are home, and last night when I was talking with Brett Esparza, the DC over at PSJ North, I said, PSJ North is scrimmaging Harlingen right now,
okay.
So I'm waiting for that phone call in a few hours to see just how that went down. But when we talked about Raymondville and St. Joe, and he's like, well, who's going to be with you? And I was like, Willacy County's finest, Marco Munguia. And he said, I tell you what, he wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah, I know Brett for a long time. I've known him since we were kids. His mom and dad were a huge part of Raymondville.
Yes.
Growing up, when I went to school here, Coach Esparza, I want to say she started the softball program here in Raymondville.
Yes.
They should just name the field after her, if you ask me.
Yes.
and then Mr. Esparza, band director here for many years too. Wonderful, just great people. And Brett's right down that line. And he's done great things when he was at Rio Hondo, over there now at PGA, and so on and so forth. He's just done an amazing job everywhere he goes. And his wife, too.
Yeah, Lizette.
She's right there.
Yep.
And she just picked it all up, too, and she got after it. So.
Well, we talk about, Raleigh and the football blood. The same thing goes with the Esparzas.
Yeah.
And forgive me for talking about our showcase and not mentioning Debbie.
Yeah,
Debbie
helped
Esparza.
coach, right?
She helped coach.
Oh,
She
wow.
helped coordinate it. Anytime I had a question about a format for the tournament, how many girls we should have in the lineup, what should be the rules, it was an easy phone call to Debbie. And I was letting the girls know that who she was. She's a legend.
Yeah.
And she's the godmother of softball, because you're right. She started the softball program back in the mid-'90s. She also started the volleyball program. And, no one tells a better story than Debbie.
No.
She'll tell you about the city park when her and she had Albert Esparza, her husband, out there just raking the field, watering the grass. And Brett was a kid. He was out there. He was also helping mold that field as well. But you're right. The softball field should just be named after her already.
Well, I tell you what, they're very, very well respected and loved here in the community, and they're always welcome back. And when we do see them around here, we all get fired up to see them back at their old stomping grounds, so on and so forth. So great people. But to tell you what, like I said, the excitement, the excitement's here, and Raymondville, the community of Raymondville is excited, and just sports-wise and so on, the back and the support, the backup, the support of the community is tremendous, and we're just hoping they get big things going, and we can be productive and win some games, get some playoffs and go from there. And the way that they're playing right now, Kevin, this looking pretty good.
For a 4A school, you always worry about, 4A, 3A football, you always worry about the depth, and you see a lot of these boys, they'll go two ways, and, there's a lot of bodies on the field, and that's a good thing for Frank Cantu, and it's a good thing for Raymondville, and that they're going to have depth, and they're going to be able to use these guys, come that stretch run, because, you talked about the schedule, and we can dissect that just a little bit. They still have a scrimmage against Rio Grande City. Then week 1, they go to Rio Hondo. Ready for that?
And let's talk about the Rio Hondo. That's a big former rivalry game, because those guys would go at it.
Yeah. Here's what we'll do.
In their old district.
Here's what we'll do.
Okay, let's go through
I'll run
it,
down
and then
the
we'll break it.
schedule,
Okay.
and we'll break it down.
Yes,
because
I
can talk Rio Hondo, Raymondville all day.
Good shot right there. Nice open field tackle.
So they have their scrimmage against Rio Grande City. Then they're at Rio Hondo. Then they're home to Ed Couch, home to Lyford, Cotton Bowl. And then they go to Hidalgo. They're home against Ingleside. They're at Sinton. Then they have their bye week, and then district play begins. And they're home against PI. They're home against Gruya. And then they're at Bishop. So let's rewind and go at Rio Hondo week 1. That's an old rivalry.
That's going to be fun. And here's a little insider. Coach Cantu and Coach James are, they are close. They're buddies.
Cuñados?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because every time I'm with Rocky, hey, Cuñado,
yeah,
he calls up.
Coach Rocky worked here.
Yes.
And him and Coach Cantu worked together, and they got a bond.
Padrino is what I was looking for.
Yes, there you go, padrinos. And they got a very strong bond. Coach Rocky, James, he has some Bearcat blood in him. He may be die hard right now in that black and gold over there, but he had a little bit of that Bearcat blood in him for a while. But him and Coach Cantu are really good buddies. So and they were in the same district forever now.
For a long time,
and
right?
that was always going to be the big game. That was always going to be. Those were usually 1 and 2. Usually 1 and 2 in the district for many years, and it came down to that matchup. But you know what? Let's pick up. We'll pick up from there. Let's take a little break.
Yeah.
And
We're gonna step aside. We promise we will continue the Rocky James story. We're gonna step aside for a commercial break. Then we're gonna jump into the controlled quarters, and there'll be 2 quarters of 15 minutes each, with a running clock if agreed upon. But they're gonna be 2 quarters, 2 live quarters, 15 minutes apiece. When we come back, we'll talk more football here on Real Sports Live.
I love what I do. I
really
love what
do.
I'm doing. I love children.
One of the most important things to do is to love your students.
Imagine teachers like these helping your child prepare to change the world. Take a closer look at Mission CISD.
We're the Harlingen South Lady Hawks, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Awesome!
When excellence in academics meets discovery on the court, in the arts, with institutions of higher education and beyond, we are the future leaders, and our success starts now. La Villa ISD, Cardinal Pride.
Josh Moody and Coach Rolly Gonzalez of Josh Moody Loans are former Harlingen Cardinals and would like to wish all the teams good luck in tonight's games.
We envision that San Perlita ISD will help our students acquire the necessary knowledge, communication, and problem-solving skills through a variety of educational and social experiences to become productive citizens in our global society. Be a part of the change to help create a community where we guide each other to our unlimited potential.
We are Santa Rosa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
The most important moments in a child's life happen in their earliest years. Having a strong early childhood education enhances their future and success. That's why we are opening the Harlingen CISD Early Childhood Academy for pre-K students. At HCISD, we provide these opportunities for our youngest learners to foster their imagination and let their curiosity run while they develop their love for learning. These are the early steps to success, and Harlingen CISD is with them every step of the way.
We are Edinburgh Villa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Sherryland ISD, a nationally recognized district focusing on quality and rigorous instruction where every child is immersed in a culture of academic success. A district dedicated to preparing our youth for the future. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and empower all students to reach their full potential and become leaders of the highest moral character. Sherryland ISD, excellence is our tradition.
We are La Villa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Uniforms, etc., you're going to find the opportunity to purchase the best high-quality scrubs. Soon after I learned about how the EDC was helping out the community, and so I did meet with Ms. Castillo. She made it very easy, very friendly, and she walked me every step of the way. I couldn't have done it without their help.
Come visit our new store in downtown Harlingen. We have furniture, appliances, clothes, collectibles, and more. All funds collected support the Sunny Glen Children's Home. Come see us at Vintage on Jackson at First and Jackson in Harlingen.
I love what I do. I really
love what
do.
I'm doing. I love children.
One of the most important things to do is to love your students.
Imagine teachers like these helping your child prepare to change the world. Take a closer look at Mission CISD.
Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles. How about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you. Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito.
We are La Villa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Whether you're visiting or vacationing at South Padre Island, be sure to book your place to stay with Island Services. Locally owned for over 40 years. Trusted, reliable for condo and beach house rentals. Call and visit the website today. Island Services.
We are the Harlingen Cardinals, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Hi, I'm Rod Rodriguez, and I'm a partner with New York Life Insurance Company. For 170 years, New York Life has built a reputation for building some of the finest agents in the industry. I help to manage that process from day one. If you're looking to challenge yourself and build an insurance and financial service business, then I would like to show you how I can help.
We're those Red Sox calling by, and you're watching Real Sports Live. We're the Lifer Cheerleaders, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles, located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, is filled with vintage items, collectibles, and a selection of vinyl records that's as good as it gets. Every shelf, every aisle, and table is filled daily by a number of vendors that ensures that something here just might be the item you have to have. The vinyl record area helps bring an added atmosphere that makes for the fun trip when stepping back in time with the memories. Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles in San Benito.
When excellence in academics meets discovery on the court, in the arts, with institutions of higher education and beyond, we are the future leaders, and our success starts now. La Villa ISD, Cardinal Pride.
Welcome back, and we are getting set for the live portion. So now we can put on the clock there 15 minutes. And it's going to be two 15-minute quarters, and the second quarter can be a running clock if the coaches is agreed upon. So they're going to line to punt, no rush, no return. Ball will start at the 35. The touchdowns will align to the PAT. There'll be no rush on the PAT. Turnovers are dead. Balls returned to the 30-yard line for the next possession. So the Bearcat offense will take the field. And Gutierrez's run goes nowhere, and a good stop defensively for Brownsville St. Joe. Gutierrez on the carry.
So now we get some live action.
Right.
And this will be fun.
Right. This is where we'll see the 6 points, your traditional scoring, where I always, when I was at the newspaper, was where I would start keeping count on who's going to win this scrimmage or not. I know some people like to do the points, some people like to do both, but this is the live portion, and now you're going to see the coaches just kind of step away into the back, opposed to where in the controlled portion they were more hands-on.
Yeah, just handing the ball off to Guerrero. Guerrero gets in there, gets himself a couple.
And then defensively for St. Joe, Evan Avila at the linebacker position, set to have a big year. Miguel Cortez, like you mentioned, Raymondville has their anchors. Miguel Cortez is that anchor for Brownsville St. Joe. And in the secondary, they're going to be very athletic. Lucas Cristiano back there in the secondary. And we're not going to see Adrian Del Pozo here tonight.
We talked about at this level, we have, some two-way players here, some two-way starters. We talked about Guerrero, who's running the ball right now, but he's also one of the linebackers up there. Diego, he's playing the QB position, but the kid can play defensive end as well. And like I said, he's a big kid, big, strong boy. They're not going to want to put him on defense. They're not going to want to put him on the defense side of the ball because he is playing at that quarterback position. But if need be, they will.
Right.
And he will cause some destruction on that defensive side of the ball as well. So.
Well, Jacob Bosas a couple of years ago, wasn't he All-State on the defensive side of the ball? And
Yeah.
he said, hey, you're going to play quarterback. Francisco de la Garza, another name for Brownsville St. Joe, playing the safety position. As Gutierrez bounces this one to the outside. Good blocking up front. Right at the sticks. Might be a yard or a half a yard shy
Might be a bit
of the
short.
first down. Anwar Joby, another guy for that St. Joe defense. So the clock stops at 12:51. It's going to get rolling.
We'll catch up here.
This is I don't want to say it's the dress rehearsal, but it's a good starting point and a good measuring stick for these coaches. They're going to have a lot of film that they're going to be able to go off of tonight and tomorrow morning when these guys hit the film room in these live portions.
I guess they're going to be taking that one back there. And that's the kind of stuff that, Coach Cantu wants to stay away from. Get away from the flag. We got to play clean. That could be a downfall for any team, and that could hurt, momentum of a drive and so on and so forth when you get that flag thrown out there. And that's the stuff they're going to have to work on. Of course, it being a scrimmage, but that's the stuff they need to clean up because they're going to get into the regular season and they're going to need, all the momentum they can get.
That flag came back in the secondary at about the 30-yard line, so that was off screen. So it's a second down.
Yeah, second and long now. Gutierrez back in that shotgun. Bearcats in the spread. Gutierrez pulls back, finds his man in the middle of the field, slips through the fingers. A little congested in there. Would have been a big-time catch if he would have been able to come down with it, and that was to Slade Gutierrez. That's another one of the featured receivers. They're going to try to get the ball into his hands as much as they can. And I talked about his little brother who was Slevin, and those two guys, the Gutierrez brothers, are looking to do some big things for the Bearcats on the offensive side. So back to the
Rocky
schedule.
James story, as promised.
That's going to be a big time matchup in that first week of play, and it's going to be a big hype game, and that's going to be over in Rio Hondo. What I'm excited for also is that second game, Kevin, against Ed Couch Elsa. Now, me being from Raymondville, the Ed Couch Elsa and the Raymondville Bearcat rivalry was a deep rivalry, just like this pass is deep but incomplete. Back in the 90s, these two teams, that was the rivalry for Raymondville, was Ed Couch. And they were in the same district back in that time. And this is the first time they're playing them since then, I want to say. So there's a lot of nostalgia, a lot of the older guys in the stands, and maybe even from the Raymondville coaching staff, can go back and tell you the rivalry between Ed Couch, Elsa, and Raymondville. So that's going to be fun. And then you look at the next week, and here we go, Lyford, right? The Cotton Bowl, as you said earlier. And you want to talk big-time rivalry now. That's the one. That's bragging rights. That's bragging rights during that game, and that's always a heated matchup. Raymondville's been on the winning side the last couple of years, but I'll tell you what, that's always fun. That's always a fun game to be a part of too. The Bulldogs and Bearcats. The tale is old as time. Cats and dogs.
Well, what's your best Cotton Bowl memory as a former player?
Oh man, there's been so many, and because being in Willacy and Raymondville and Lyford being 6-7 miles away, you got family over there on each side. You got people that work in a district that may live in Lyford or be from the Lyford-Sebastian area, but they work for Raymondville, or someone that lives in Raymondville that works over in Lyford. So it's fun. It's fun. It's bragging rights. It's you get into that kind of stuff with families or family rivalry. Myself, being from Raymondville, but my uncle used to be the head coach over there, Coach Infante, Jaime Infante. So you have, my grandma, and we would always, talk to each other about, Bearcats and Bulldogs. And my mother's a graduate from Lyford, so she has that Lyford blood in her. But she worked for Raymondville ISD for many years, so she has that split as well. So it's fun. It's a fun rivalry. We enjoy it. In the end, there's only one winner, and that's the one that can brag for the rest of the year. And then they wait till the next year.
And Cotton Bowl, we're in Willacy County, so it's just down the street. So I know in my time at the Star, I know Freddie Gonzalez, he had the small school beat. I know every year he was always fired up for the Cotton Bowl. And, it's a great rivalry, for two small schools in Willacy County, which is, Gutierrez real quick out to the 45 to the 40, cuts it back up to the 30, picks up a first down. Good run from Gutierrez. It's rural, all out here. It's peace and quiet. So like you said, the communities love to come together, especially when those two play. But, you talk Cotton Bowl, and then you talk Battle of 506 with Santa Rosa and La Feria.
That's always a good
and then you got the Sugar Bowl with these small schools. So
is that La Villa? Who's that? Who's La Villa and Santa Rosa have that too, right? Because of the sugar mills over there, and that's fun. All these rivalries, they're fun.
The best, you see, the crazy thing is that these are small schools, and I think covering these small schools, like you said, there's a lot more involvement with the communities, and there's a lot, like you said, as old as time, and I'd really like to find out what Cotton Bowl this is going to be this year.
It'll be interesting because both sides are going to have athletes. Lifer still has the Martinez brothers, and those guys, well, they're some special runners over there. The Martinez brothers, Osmar and Oscar, those guys are just tremendous athletes. You put the ball in their hands. They lost a lot of guys last year, like Mark Maruquin, who graduated, some of those skilled players, but they still got some talent over there, and that'll be fun in that district. Now, what's interesting is Rio Hondo going to that district.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it was, not to go off on a tangent here, we'll go back to this, to breaking down the schedule, but to talk about Rio Hondo was that, they had that strong class with Ethan Jeremiah and Smiley, and the COVID year really messed it up for that class because they were going to be, I believe they were going to be juniors that year, and that was going to be their year. They're supposed to be their breakout year, and COVID comes, and obviously Rio Hondo didn't play football. And then from then till now, the numbers gone down. Obviously they have because they've gone down to a 3A, and right now, Rio Hondo's still trying to recover from that COVID year, and they did move down to 3A, and it's going to be interesting to see, how they respond. And Ruben Atkinson, though, that's a name on the upswing. He'll be the quarterback for Rio Hondo and Rocky James. And just going back to the story about him and Frank being very close, and the fact that those two are playing each other again this year in Rio Hondo will be a pretty big deal, and it'll be a good matchup for those two. And Tino Villarreal, he's also very close with Rocky James, and I deemed that one the ketchup and mustard game when Rio Hondo would come out in those all yellow uniforms and St. Joe would come out in the all red. So those three there are three really good guys, all kind of in the same area, and have that small school taste, and they all have a lot of respect for each other with Tino, Rocky, and of course Frank. But going back to the Cotton Bowl, I'm interested not only to see the matchup, but what Cotton Bowl is it? Is it the 56? Is it the 80th? I'd really like to know because the Battle of the Arroyo, there's always the...
they have the number.
They have the number.
If anybody out there is watching, if you guys know what number Cotton Bowl it is, throw it down on our social media, on Facebook or YouTube, so we can take a look. Earlier we had looking through some comments, someone was asking us to zoom in on our camera. We're a little short-handed. Here in Raymondville, they have the AV class that usually does the video portion when we call games, but school hasn't started, so they don't have students to run the camera crew. So here me and Kevin are talking, and Kevin's trying to pan the camera as well. So he's a man of many talents. So excuse us if we're giving you a wide angle right now because
not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but we're trying the best we can. Once the regular season gets going, and once on Raymondville's home games, when they have their students working and the games, it'll be a much better production. But we're doing the best we can, and we thank you guys once again for tuning in to Real Sports Live, bringing you this scrimmage tonight. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. Feel free to give us a shout out on the social medias. Ball goes loose, and let's see what happened there.
That ball came out, and that's going to be St. Joe football. I don't know if it wound up in the end zone. It looked like the officials marking them down at about like the half-yard line.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that ball came out, so that was a big stop as Gutierrez was trying to get as much as he could before going down. And sometimes that's the way it goes. You're trying to get that extra inch before going down, and we just lose it. You know, it just gets lost there. So we're gonna fix up the time here. We got caught up talking.
That's all right. Yeah, we're at 7.5 minutes. I like what I see though in Gutierrez. He's definitely a tough runner for sure.
Well, I mentioned earlier, you know, he's the kind of guy that's not going to finesse you. He's going to go right at you. If he needs that extra yard, he's going to try to run over you to get it. He's not going to try to give you a spin move and bounce to the right or left. He's just going to go right through.
Mm-hmm. You know, and speaking of the COVID year, Raymondville, that was also a very strange year. They played in 4 games, but they came out and they won a playoff game in Corpus that year. And I thought that was some of Frank's better work as a head coach to not have, to have a very unorthodox offseason, to play very limited games and to be able to go out there and win a playoff game. I thought that was phenomenal. That ball was picked off at the 35-yard line and another turnover for St. Joe's defense. That was Anwar Joby, a name that I brought up earlier in the broadcast. So a fumble recovery and an interception for St. Joe. 2 straight drives. The Bearcats turn it over.
You know, two turnovers back to back. And that's the kind of stuff, like I said, Coach Cantu is trying to clean up before they get into anything else. All right, hey, it's a scrimmage. We're going to learn from this. We'll go from there. But let's clean it up. Let's clean it up here.
So back to the schedule. They got the Cotton Bowl. Then they go to Hidalgo, Ingleside at Sinton. Then they have their bye week. And then they're home to Port Isabel to start district play. Then they're home to Gruya, and then they're at Bishop.
Under some pressure there, gets that ball off and incomplete. Hey, we want to give a shout-out also to Mr. Albert Pena.
AP.
Yeah, he just sent us a little message here saying to give you some love there, Kevin. And Mr. Pena, who's an avid sports fanatic at all angles. He's done it all, coached it all, and led in every aspect of a school district. And we're going to wish him a happy retirement. He's retiring as the superintendent of San Perlita ISD, and we want to wish him a happy retirement. And now he can come and call games with me when the booth allows the space.
Yeah, no, hey, we're excited to have Albert Pena, who's a good friend of mine, and I gave him the nickname AP, and I know every broadcast we're on, I always want to give him a shout-out. So we're excited to have him up here in the press box at some point in time, and happy retirement.
And he's done the Cotton Bowls with me, and we always have a good time. I like to take him up there. We have a lot of space when we go to Lyford up on top of the press box, and we just get after. We enjoy doing some games together over there. He's a football guy. He knows the game. He coached football back in his days over in Laredo and so on and so forth.
That play was blown up. Not a lot of running room there for J.P. Vivaldi, and this front, this front defensive front for Raymondville is nasty. And in that's going to be a question for St. Joe. They're going to try and mix and match on their offensive line. They have the size, and it's just a matter of gelling things together. And I tell you what, last night, in fact, I went to my first football practice of the year. I'm about a week and a half behind schedule, but I went down to St. Joe yesterday, and the first thing I noticed was that, and this is true, and this is a real story, and that Tino's okay with me telling this, but last year at this point, they struggled on running plays. They struggled on lining up in formations. There was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of youth. They really had to start from scratch. This year, the complete opposite. Guys were running in out of positions. They had their ones. They had their twos. They knew the formations. They could run plays. So Tino said, so what do you think? He goes, I'll give you a few plays, and you come back and tell me what you think. And I said, hey, well, first off, you guys can run plays. You guys can set up and run plays, and you guys look sharp. And then secondly, was the number and the size was 2 things that I noticed that they had in yesterday's practice. So today, being that it's their first scrimmage, they're definitely ahead of the game than when they were last year. And that's crazy to believe when you have a new quarterback, because usually you'll say, oh, well, they just might be behind the 8 ball a little bit, especially with a new quarterback. But Gallegos was there in the spring, and they Tino's a guy who likes to put his guys in 7-on-7, so they did that over the spring. They did that over the summer. And I know Raymondville, they're always in that Harlingen League down at Victor Park. And, 7-on-7, I guess it's an acquired taste for some coaches because some like it, some don't. The way I see it is, sure, you don't make contact, but in this case, with a new quarterback like Gallegos and like Gutierrez, you need that 7-on-7 to build that chemistry, to learn your receivers, for your receivers to learn you, to learn that route tree. So that's what I take when I see 7-on-7. And I remember Raymondville that one year they went to state. I believe it was their first time ever qualifying for state. Jacob Posas' year when Cole Cooley was here. Oh, that's a random name. The Zambrano twins, Noe and Tomas. Those are two names right there that just popped into the memory tank. But I saw that team play so well in 7-on-7 all summer, and they went up and they did really well at College Station that year. But you see, it translated onto the football field. And those are some things that you can see on the positive side when it comes to 7-on-7. Especially for small schools like Raymondville, for St. Joe, they don't, obviously they're in TAPS. But yeah, did you cover? I don't know if you've seen big on 7-on-7 or?
I see 7-on-7 kind of like your summer leagues in basketball,
right,
or volleyball. It keeps your players going, your skilled players going. And, of course, there's not much for the line or stuff like that, but you got to mesh. You got to know what's going on. I think of it in the basketball aspect. When you got a new group coming up and you got a new point guard or positions that aren't there, that they have to start meshing as the new team. And so I would think the same for football. You want to get your skilled players out there to start getting on the same page, know their tendencies, quarterback getting to know their receivers and who can make the play, so on and so forth. So I'm all about 7-on-7. I think it's good for them. It's good for them to get things going. And there's that defense of the Bearcats. And once again in there you got Josh Valdez and Big Nick. Big Nick's a force. He's going to wreak havoc all year long. Just keep an eye out for that kid. You'll hear his name quite a bit on both sides of the ball, on the O-line and the D-line. Kid's a menace. The guy's a menace, and he's just going to bring it every game. His dad who was part of that 98-99 group, his dad, Art Gomez, Tootie Gomez was one of our offensive linemen back in the day, and Tootie himself was a man of great stature, and his son just followed. You brought up the Zambrano boys. Those kids were some of the toughest kids that come from Raymondville. Their dad was the middle linebacker on that 98-99 team as well. So these guys were there, and they have their kids playing now, and so on and so forth. And it's the same names, big names, and big time players.
Missed opportunity there for St. Joe Angel, I'm reading off the wrong roster. That was Brandon Granado, the intended wide receiver. Good throw from Gallegos, put it right on the money. So 2:53 is where the clock stopped the clock will stop in the first quarter in the live portions. No score.
And Kevin, if we want to keep throwing names about that team, Coach Zoller for the Bearcats was a receiver on that 98-99 team, and now he's taking his talents to the sidelines to coach the Bearcats. So it's a great group, fun, good old days, and blue and gold still rocking here in Raymondville. Here we go. There's a little bit of razzle-dazzle.
Right in the mix, Hunter Posas. As a defender, anytime you're around the football, good things are going to happen. And that's what Hunter Posas has showed here this afternoon.
And at the position that he's at, he will. He has a nose for the ball, and he's going to find it, and he's going to get in on the hit. Even if it's not his tackle, he's going to jump in and get an assist, or he's going to make sure his presence is felt there. In the shotgun, Gallegos drops back, lights to the side, little catch with plenty of room to run up the left. Nice completion, nice catch and run. plenty of space on that left side of the field.
Yeah, it's JP Vidauri. I mentioned earlier is going to be a key piece for Tino Villarreal. So, this group, this receiving core, Francisco de la Garza, he's stepped up in the offseason offensively. We know what he can do in the secondary. And then you have, I said, JP Vidauri. And then you have Lucas Cristiano, who is, it's ironic. Today's happy middle child day.
Yes, it is.
Lucas is the middle child. With the Cristianos, his older brother Luigi, a.k.a. Big Lou, he's here, and he's fixing to head off to UT, where he'll go to school.
Okay.
And he was the quarterback here for St. Joe. And then, of course, they have little brother Andre Cristiano, who's a freshman this year. And he's going to be good. Him and, I was talking about him and Ian Meyer, who are some freshmen that are on the upswing in this program for Tino Villarreal, and and then of course Adrian Del Pozo. Like every offense, it's going to start and stop with their best player, and this year it's going to be DP, and unfortunately he's not here tonight, but we're looking forward to seeing him next week against Porter in their scrimmage, and then into the regular season. But with what he brings, his tools. It's a lot like Zaravion, where you can just line him up anywhere, and he's gonna do damage. He might not be as nifty as Zaravion, because there are very few people that can move like that.
Yeah.
But Del Pozo is probably more physical when you look at the two. But if you want to compare him to someone that the Raymondville fans can relate to, it's Zaravion, and DP is gonna have a big year for St. Joe. I know last year when he went out with an injury, and he came back against Austin Brentwood. And he had an interception, he had a receiving touchdown, he had a rushing touchdown. He was all over the place, and he was easily our player of the game last year in that Austin Brentwood game.
Well, St. Joe definitely has some skilled players over on their side, and I earlier was talking about the yards after catch, what they do when the ball is in their hands. They have the breakaway. They have the breakaway speed. They have the skill to make the move and to get more yards. When I did their game over there last year, it was a highlight reel. Everything was a highlight every time. Yeah, everything was a highlight every time they got the ball. And that ball was they did it through the air last year, and it's interesting to see how they'll come back this year and what they'll do with their new pieces.
The fun fact is, we were talking about the turf and how beautiful it looks here in Raymondville. But if you're on there, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, it's Santa Rosa, Rio Hondo, and PI are the only fields left with grass. That's from off the top of my brain and what I can remember, because other than that, everyone else, they've moved on to turf.
It's going that way, and why? You got all weather, it can just take it. I know for a while when there wasn't many turf fields, everybody, when it would rain, it was, can we use your field? Are you away?
Right.
Can we rent your field out or whatever, because people needed to get their games in. And it was hard, and it was hard to do.
Right, and traveling up 77 at these small schools like Agua Dulce, Bishop, and from here all the way up to the coastal bend, you're seeing a lot of these small schools go to turf, particularly softball and baseball. And yeah, for that reason, here Ed Calchelsa is turf for softball. Along with Raymondville and a couple others, but it comes. PSJ just implemented turf at all of their high schools on the baseball and softball fields, but comes a time in April and May when we get that weather. We find ourselves, Roma is another one that has turf. You find yourselves playing at the randomest of places.
I tell you, it never fails. It's always at the end of the baseball, softball season, regular season. And that rain comes in, and teams are scrambling to finish up district play because there might be seeding implications for playoffs or just to wrap it up. And everyone's, hey, is your field available? We don't have, our field is wet or it's not playable, whatever it may be.
So we talked about the Raymondville schedule, and let's talk a little bit about Brownsville, St. Joe, and their schedule. And just a reminder that they're not under UIL; they are in TAPS, so they're in 3 Division II TAPS. Last year, St. Joe went 5-5, 4-3, and they to my point, when I saw them last year at their first couple of practices, they opened up the season, and it was definitely one to forget when they lost to Port Isabel 54-6, week 1 at PI. But then from there on, you saw the growth from St. Joe. I mean, you got to see them in that last game of the year against John Paul II. But the teams that they have in their district, the St. Michael's, Austin Regents, Hyde Park can be tough. St. Anthony's can be tough. It's unique and it's different because they're not from the Valley. They're from Austin.
Yeah.
They're from San Antonio.
Oh, yeah.
And in the Kai Money years, they had teams from the Dallas area. And you're talking legit D1 athletes that we may see in the 3rd or the 4th round. And these guys are talking about they're playing them within their district. We're getting ready to start the second live quarter here. So let's run down the St. Joe schedule here against Raymondville, their first scrimmage. Then they're at home to take on Carlos Uresti and the Porter Cowboys. Then they open up their season at home against Brownsville Lopez. There's a flag there in the secondary. Probably going to be a PI. Then they take on Santa Rosa, and then they play Brownsville Veterans, and then they have a bye week on September the 16th, and then they start their district season against St. Joseph. That's Victoria St. Joseph. Then they take on Christian. Then they take on the Austin Regents. Then St. Michael's. Then Hyde Park. Then St. Anthony's. And then they take on TMI to close out their season.
Well, it looks like Austin Region and Austin St. Michael's are going to be the 2 big dogs there. And but St. Joe's going to come. I feel like St. Joe's going to come. They're going to bring it. They're going to compete. And you never know. With Coach Pial, anything can happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's a fire-up guy. And he gets these guys fired up, and they're going to get out there and rock and roll.
So the Bloodhounds are going to move this up to midfield. Yeah, and then last year in the first round, they played Second Baptist out of Houston, and they went on to win the state championship. And this was a first-round matchup for St. Joe.
Wow.
By the way.
Look at the luck of the draw on that
by
one.
the way, right. So, it's always interesting to see these teams. Last year, this team hit a crossroad against Bernie Geneva. Bernie Geneva just wiped the floor with St. Joe, and it got into that stretch where the Bloodhounds had to play the Austin Regents. They had to play St. Michael. Deep pass, incomplete, looking for Cristiano. And it's tough sledding. It was tough sledding for St. Joe. They got bit by the injury bug at that time. It was the Brentwood game when Vidaudi went down with the shoulder injury. Del Pozo was missing for a couple of games. So for St. Joe to go 4-3 and 5-5 was like, whew, like through all the obstacles they had to go through the injuries, and the COVID bug bit just a little bit here and there with some guys and some of the coaching staff, and having to play those teams with a relatively young offense. It was an accomplishment for them to make the playoffs at 4-3. This year, a little bit different. The narrative's changed. Everyone's back on the offensive side except for Nick Jackson and Luigi Cristiano. Yeah. Other than that, everyone's back, and the expectations are high, and they have a strong sophomore freshman class right there waiting in the wings, and we'll see some of these underclassmen on Friday nights.
It's a nice completion right there by Gallegos. Made that play. Looks like they might get to that first down. Maybe a little short. That's a big pickup there.
In Kai Money, he's easily one of the greater quarterbacks that we've had in the Valley, private school or not. To me, those things don't matter. I know there's a lot of, well, he was in 3A. So what?
Yeah.
He was in 4A. So what? So what? You know, there's the debate with Trevor Spates.
No, you're preaching
I'm
to the choir, buddy. Because you're coming, being a coach in San Perlita, that's
oh, yeah,
1A ball.
yeah,
You know,
no,
that's 1A
yeah.
ball. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Player's a player.
Yeah,
you
you
know
play
what I mean?
who's in front of you. And we can even go one further is that, you know, San Perlita, they're a 1A. Okay, well, they played Calvert, who was second in the state, in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, and then the 2 years before that, you know, Dimebox, McMullen County. These teams they're serious squads that are ranked in the top 10 of the state. Just to put it quickly, it was San Perlita, McMullen County, Calvert, and Dimebox. 4 out of the top 10 teams were in the same region.
Yeah.
So it was basically a mini regional tournament when those 4 met in the second round. So, but just to the point of these athletes and Kai Money, that you know what he did at St. Joe in his years was incredible. We were lucky I was lucky to cover him his entire career, and he comes from actually not actually, but he comes from a good bloodline with his dad, Philip Money, who was the quarterback for the Bobcats back in the mid '80s. Funny random side story was I found out that my mom's cousin, so I guess my second cousin, Bali De Leon, was actually his backup at Edinburgh High. Cut back inside the 5 into the end zone. That'll make Kai Money smile. And a St. Joe touchdown.
St. Joe gets on the board, and it looks like that was Vidare.
My vision's not very good. If that was number 10, that was J.P. Vidauti.
Yeah, it was. Let's take a look at that again.
Yeah, those are things that, you know, Tino wants to see. You know, especially coming from his veteran in Vidauti. Said he's a junior. He knows the offense.
And I talked about the yard after catch. You know, these guys, St. Joe has those skilled players at those skilled positions. Just get the ball in their hands and let them do the rest. They're fast. They're crafty. They're nifty. They make a move and they're gone.
And then you got, you know, guys, you know, like Ricky Minor, got the Iron Pony and Pablo Solesi, who's a D1 athlete who's throwing shot put and discus at Texas A&M in College Station. And then, of course, Kai Money. I mean, you saw it, and everyone saw it, that he went to. But you know, the funny thing with Kai Money is, guess what he wants to be.
What's that?
Guess his career path. You'll never guess.
Teacher.
Close. Kind of close.
What's that?
Dentist.
Dentist.
He wants to be a dentist.
All right.
And when he graduated, you know, he would always attend the Midnight Madnesses, and he said, hey, whether I play or I don't, I want to go and I want to be a dentist. Fun fact about Kai Money is he's a very good poker player.
Oh, is that right?
A very, very good poker player. And I know one year at Midnight Madness, Kai was late to Midnight Madness. He was already graduated, but we were wondering where Kai was at, and he shows up. And it's probably the most money I'll ever see in my life. But he had about 2 wads of money. Says, Coach, Tino's like, you see, little do people know, not only Kai Money was the greatest quarterback we ever had, and he wants to be a dentist, but he is a hell of a poker player.
Well, there's a little insight.
It's like, well, how about that? Kai Money, the poker player.
The dentist
/ poker player. Yeah, good stuff. But, you know, going back to, you know, St. Joe and, you know, the shoes that Luigi had to fill, I thought he did it quite well. And, in fact, he passed Kai Money last year for the single season record in touchdown passes in a season.
When I walked on the field last year and I saw Luigi, I was like, this is a big kid.
Yes, and see, Luigi's okay with it, and Papa Luigi's okay with it. You saw the slimmer version of Luigi. You see, they didn't call him Big Lou for no reason. That was his name. He was Big Lou.
Well,
he was
Kevin,
just very Ben Roethlisberger-like.
You know, Kev, I mean, I stand 6'2", and I think I'm tall, and then I get on that field, and I see Luigi on the sideline, and I'm looking up to him. I'm like, this is a big old boy, solid big boy. But man, he had a touch on that ball. He could let it go.
Yep, and he handled himself so well in his time in a St. Joe uniform because he just wasn't going to take over the position that just anyone held. And it was Kai Money. You know, and for those that knew throughout the Valley in that time, he was in the same air as guys like Zach Gomez, Marco Aguinaga. He was amongst some big names. That pass, that's a drop in the corner of the end zone.
Good pass. Found
That was
man
Vidal. He was
wide
looking for
open.
Vidaldi.
Just couldn't keep it in his hands. But yeah, I mean, both of these teams, St. Joe, they had, you know, Luigi. Raymondville had Jason Cantu, and Jason did big things.
Oh yeah.
Don't let last year's record fool you, man. That was a tough district that they played in. You know, last year they were 3-7 overall. They 1-6 in district, but you know, Jason Cantu held it down at that quarterback position for the Bearcats last year, and he was their heart and soul last year through it all. And so Diego Gutierrez has some big shoes to fill on this side too.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about Jason was that, you know, rightfully so, I was so happy for him when he won the sub male athlete of the year, and that because when you look at it, to me there was no debate.
Yeah, what a year he had in multiple sports.
Yeah, as I said, golf, football, baseball, basketball, quick swing pass to the 5, big hit out of bounds. You know, and then the year before, Eli Terry won the award. So that makes me I'm happy to be, you know, a former newspaper guy, that these awards are being handed out the right way to these kids that are in small schools, small communities, and that it doesn't get overlooked.
Yeah, and I just got
Mia Alvarado
yeah.
on the girls' side. That was for me. In the small schools, there was no question, and then in 6A it was Kayla Hernandez, who to me there was no doubt there in 6A.
I enjoyed coaching against Kayla. She was fun.
You're one of the few to even say that.
To watch. She was fun to watch, and you know, I put her against one of my top in Aaliyah Garcia, who, you know, she was an all-region basketball player for me too. Aaliyah was the Valley Morning Stars volleyball player of the year, and when I would see Aaliyah and Kayla battle it out, it was fun. It was fun. There's a lot of respect for each other as they went on and played multiple all-star teams together and so on and so forth. But it was great.
See, Kayla was fierce though. She was gonna let you know.
Oh yeah.
You know, Aaliyah's passive aggressive.
Yeah. Yes.
She's a beast, but she's very sweet.
Yes.
She'll pat you on the back. Kayla will give you that elbow and be like, "Get off me," and she'll remind you that she kicked your butt, and she'll tell you again that she's gonna kick your butt. But those two were both fun to watch. But yeah, Mia Alvarado in the small schools in the female athlete of the year, she won that one, rightfully so. I know you coached against her the last so many years.
Oh yeah.
I mean, shoot.
Since she was in middle school.
Yeah. The San Isidro San Perlito rivalry. Talking about rivalries, that's one of my favorite ones. These past couple of years on the basketball court, even in volleyball too. It's fun, but I think it's spiced up a bit in basketball. The funny thing too is that our players of the game are sponsored by the Economy Company, which is run by Mario Alvarado, who's now the former
retired.
Just like there's something in the small school water with Albert Peña retiring, Mario Alvarado retiring. But yeah, shout out to Mario and his company for sponsoring our players of the game, and now for the parents and athletes, you know, your athlete will receive a medal
inside
threading
route.
the needle.
Yes.
That's what Tino Villarreal wants to see, and you just may see a lot of that Gallegos Cristiano connection. You know, like I said, you know, back to Luigi, where obviously those two share the same room together at home. There's a lot of chemistry that needs to be built, and over the spring and over the summer, those are some things that those two were working on, and that could be a very popular combo come the regular season.
Well, you know, earlier in this scrimmage, we didn't see much from Gallegos throwing the ball, and now he's coming out and he's showing what he can do with his arm. That was a bullet.
Yeah, just sling it around.
Yeah.
Right. So back to Mario. Yeah, your kids will be receiving a medal that we broke out here earlier this week with the volleyball games. So that'll be the player of the game. Your kid will get a medal. Injury on the field looks to be okay.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a little break, and
Yes.
we'll be back after this. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back.
Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles. How about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you. Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito.
Plan your escape. Beach, bay, or both. Sunrises and sunsets daily. Memories made all day. Live music and great food round out your visit. So why wait? SoPadre.com.
LEAD has relationships with multiple industry leaders. Whether you're looking for project-based work or long-term employment, you decide. Our industry-skilled jobs include industrial, marine industries, oil and gas, commercial construction, and renewable energy. We offer work close to home, so you can spend more time with those you love. LEAD Staffing, putting people to work and changing lives daily.
Josh Moody and Coach Rolly Gonzalez of Josh Moody Loans are former Harlingen Cardinals and would like to wish all the teams good luck in tonight's games.
We're the Lady Cougars and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Plan your escape. Beach, bay, or both. Sunrises and sunsets daily. Memories made all day. Live music and great food round out your visit. So why wait? SoPadre.com.
We are the Harlingen Lady Cardinals and you're watching Real Sports Live.
The Brownsville Independent School District continues to provide a safe environment for enriching education. From pre-K3 to early college high school, the award-winning district has advanced its legacy in curriculum, athletics, and fine arts. Teachers are driving the frontier of technology, bringing industry to the classroom. On and off the field, Brownsville ISD students engage in the experiences that make them college and career ready. Brownsville Independent School District, the best choice.
And he throws it down.
See you later, touchdown.
I love what I do. I
love
really
what
do.
I'm doing. I love children. One of the most important things to do is to love your students.
Imagine teachers like these helping your child prepare to change the world. Take a closer look at Mission CISD.
We're the Harlingen South Lady Hawks and you're watching Real Sports Live. Awesome!
When excellence in academics meets discovery on the court, in the arts, with institutions of higher education and beyond, we are the future leaders, and our success starts now. La Villa ISD, Cardinal Pride.
Josh Moody and Coach Rolly Gonzalez of Josh Moody Loans are former Harlingen Cardinals and would like to wish all the teams good luck in tonight's games.
Got the twos. Welcome back. So the twos are now in for the Bearcats and the Bloodhounds here in Willacy County. Kevin Aro, Marco Munguia to my left on Rio Sports Live. First scrimmage of the year for the Bloodhounds and the Bearcats, and the first scrimmage of the 2022 football season here on Rio Sports Live. Catching us on Facebook and YouTube. And for the St. Joe fans, the game will be replayed tomorrow on the St. Joe channel. And tomorrow for you volleyball fans, we will have a championship Saturday at Donna High School and over at the Pound Fest at Mac High, where we've had crews yesterday and today out there covering the games. So we're looking forward to wrapping up those two tournaments tomorrow afternoon at Donna High School and at McAllen High School. on a Friday night. A little muggy at kickoff. I know some rain had come through the area.
Also, the groundbreaking of the new turf field
yeah,
here.
it's christening the new stadium on the turf field. That was one thing I realized when I was driving down 186, that this was the first football game they were able to have on their new turf. And so I'm going to ask you, because I always have this debate back with my high school at Edinburgh North, the logo, would you have rather had the R or the Bearcat?
I like the Bearcat.
Like the Bearcat?
I like the Bearcat on there. You know, Raymondville's gone through a couple different logos that they've liked. I liked back in the 80s, 90s, they had a logo that had cats. And I thought that was always, yes, with a K. Cats. Let's get it right. It's cats with a K. All right? Because cats never closes. I thought that was one of the cooler logos that Rainbow had, of course. The Bearcat face here on the middle of this field. It looks good. I like it. And just, you know, I'm in awe at the beauty of this field back in our days and playing on the grass here. Looking at this turf, it's a blessing to this younger generation. And I'm sure they're excited to be the inaugural class of this turf field. And they're fired up. And you know, when you have something like this, you're grateful for it.
You got a field house, you got the gym right there, and you got the new turf facilities, baseball and softball also, brand new turf facilities. I mean, even the facilities at the ballpark with baseball and softball, I like how they're connected. I like the bleachers out in left field. I'm sure pretty sooner rather than later we'll be hearing the term bleacher bums for the softball and baseball fans. But I really like that setup they have there in left field. You know, just you know, all throughout, you know, the concession stands and how they're built together. And
there's a big stiff arm by 11 there. That's Pedro Rodriguez. He's been running tough with that second group. Hey, big shout out to Lupe Reese. Lupe Reese throwing it down over Wing Champs. And he's giving us a shout out here on Facebook. So I want to throw some love out to Lupe for tuning in. Thank you, Lupe.
Save us a seat.
He says 29-degree land, he said.
I know what that means.
I'm not sure what that means, Kevin, but he said 29-degree land.
I think I have an idea.
Well, this second group coming in earlier when they were playing, Pedro Rodriguez, you know, carrying that ball, and he was running tough. It looked like a mean, tough runner, and he just got a little bit of love right there. So once again, thank you for tuning in to Real Sports Live, Facebook, YouTube, and once again, it'll be on the St. Joe channel, as St. Joe will have their games going on Real Sports Live. And it looks like it's St. Joe's turn with the ball. And let's see who's taking over that call-in duties over there. Looks like Alejandro Garcia will be at the helm. Back in the shotgun. He keeps it himself, looking for a little bit of room to run, but that defensive line of the Bearcats stuffs up that middle. You know, you talked about Del Pozo not playing here tonight and waiting for his time to shine. A player for the Bearcats that isn't playing tonight is Brian Robles, who I've heard big things that are to come from him in the slot position on offense and even at the safety position when he's back. So Coach Cantu and those guys down on the sideline are looking to get him back into the groove of things. They're expecting big things out of Brian Robles on the Bearcat side. Drop back now, looking for a man, but he was covered pretty good. Couldn't get through there on that tackle and break up there, Angel Ochoa.
He was looking for Andre Cristiano, one of the names I mentioned earlier, the freshman this year for St. Joe. And, you know, talking with his older brother, you know, Luigi, and not that there was any bias when he talks about his brother, because Luigi will tell you how it is, you know. And he just said, Kevin, he's like, Andre is varsity ready like today.
Nice.
He goes, there's a few things that he needs to sharpen He goes, but once he fixes those things, well, that ball's just
Ball's up in the air. It's a jump ball.
It got hit as he was thrown.
Yeah.
But he says he's varsity ready right now. And he says there's a few things he needs to clean up. And once he gets that figured out, it's a domino effect, because you have a guy like Francisco de la Garza where he plays both ways. Good at receiver, but even better at safety.
Mm-hmm.
So, if Andre can find his footing and be a solid go-to guy on the varsity, that'll free up De La Garza to then play the safety position and, just make the team better and just add some depth to that wide receiving core who's already talented.
Well, you say if Big Brother was saying that, Big Brother's going to tell the truth.
No, absolutely. That's why I knew
if he wasn't, if he didn't think his brother wasn't varsity ready, then he'd be like, nope, no, he's not ready.
Yeah.
But if Big Brother's calling it like he sees it, then
Mm-hmm.
the kid's ready to rock and roll, and he'll make things happen. And sometimes it's a matter of confidence. The first ball he catches or the first big hit, I mean, then that chest is gonna be up. That chest is going to be out and pumped, and he's going to bring it.
Mm-hmm. Another good story on the St. Joe team is Coach Jason Starkey. He's on the staff with Tino Villarreal, and other than Andrew Soto, who's on the offensive side for Tino, and Sammy Lucio, a longtime assistant, and the OC. But Jason Starkey, he's got a great story. For those that don't know, Coach Starkey once coached at Brownsville Lopez for a couple of years there and led Lobos to the playoffs, and that hadn't been done in a very long time. And Coach Starkey from West Virginia played at Marshall, was the center there, and played with Chad Pennington and Randy Moss, and actually helped recruit Byron Leftwich to Marshall. Just his story on him, battling with addiction and playing in the NFL and then coming back and coaching down here in the Valley. And he brings a lot of insight to Brownsville St. Joe and on that offensive line. Trying to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, they kind of switched things up on us. Like Coach Cantu said earlier, they gave us a written script and a format of what they were going to go with. And he said, but who knows? Me and Coach Leal might get together and just change a couple of things and see if they need to work on certain things and so on and so forth. So let's see what they're going to bring out. But while we figure that out, let's go to a little break.
Right.
All right, we'll be back. This is Real Sports Live. Back in a minute.
We envision that San Perlita ISD will help our students acquire the necessary knowledge, communication, and problem-solving skills through a variety of educational and social experiences to become productive citizens in our global society. Be a part of the change to help create a community where we guide each other to our unlimited potential.
We are Santa Rosa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
The most important moments in a child's life happen in their earliest years. Having a strong early childhood education enhances their future and success. That's why we are opening the Harlingen CISD Early Childhood Academy for pre-K students. At HCISD, we provide these opportunities for our youngest learners to foster their imagination and let their curiosity run while they develop their love for learning. These are the early steps to success, and Harlingen CISD is with them every step of the way.
We are Eddie Bergella, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Sherryland ISD, a nationally recognized district focusing on quality and rigorous instruction where every child is immersed in a culture of academic success. A district dedicated to preparing our youth for the future. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and empower all students to reach their full potential and become leaders of the highest moral character. Sherryland ISD, excellence is our tradition.
We are La Villa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Uniforms, etc., you're going to find the opportunity to purchase the best high-quality scrubs. Soon after I learned about how the EDC was helping out the community, and so I did meet with Ms. Castillo. She made it very easy, very friendly, and she walked me every step of the way. I couldn't have done it without their help.
Come visit our new store in downtown Harlingen. We have furniture, appliances, clothes, collectibles, and more. All funds collected support the Sunny Glen Children's Home. Come see us at Vintage on Jackson at First and Jackson in Harlingen.
I love what I do. I
love
really
what
do.
I'm doing. I love children. One of the most important things to do is to love your students.
Imagine teachers like these helping your child prepare to change the world. Take a closer look at Mission CISD.
Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles. How about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you. Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito.
We are La Villa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Whether you're visiting or vacationing at South Padre Island, be sure to book your place to stay with Island Services. Locally owned for over 40 years. Trusted, reliable for condo and beach house rentals. Call and visit the website today. Island Services.
We are the Harlingen Cardinals, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Hi, I'm Rodriguez, and I'm a partner with New York Life Insurance Company. For 170 years, New York Life has built a reputation for building some of the finest agents in the industry. I help to manage that process from day one. If you're looking to challenge yourself and build an insurance and financial service business, then I would like to show you how I can help.
We're Los Redcoats Volleyball, and you're watching Real Sports Live. We're the Lifer Cheerleaders, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles, located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, is filled with vintage items, collectibles, and a selection of vinyl records that's as good as it gets. Every shelf, every aisle, and table is filled daily by a number of vendors that ensures that something here just might be the item you have to have. The vinyl record area helps bring an added atmosphere that makes for the fun trip when stepping back in time with the memories. Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles in San Benito.
When excellence in academics meets discovery on the court, in the arts, with institutions of higher education and beyond, we are the future leaders, and our success starts now. La Villa ISD, Cardinal Pride.
All right, welcome back. So, Tino gave me an itinerary last night at practice. Coach Frank Cantu gave me another one before the scrimmage started with the warning that, hey, if we feel like changing something up, we can just do it on the fly. It's a scrimmage. So we're going to go one live quarter, and it's going to be a 15-minute quarter. And we're going to get things underway. The Bearcats will start at the 30 at the toss to the right, cuts it back up, picks up a yard, maybe two. So why not? It's a scrimmage. You want to fix some things. They want to fix some things. You want to go a live quarter? Let's go a live quarter.
And that's what this is about. Both these coaches are going to communicate and talk to each other. Hey, I need to work on this, or hey, I'd like to take a look at this. And they're going to say, go ahead, coach. That's what it's about. And these are two great coaches, and they're here to just get both teams better before they get going into their regular season in their district play. Miguel Contreras did a great job keeping that containment from getting out to that outside. And let's see what the Bearcats are going to do here. Once again, leading that Bearcat core is Diego Gutierrez at the quarterback position. Out in that shotgun with a trips left. Pulls it himself, finds a receiver, but incomplete.
This doesn't happen too often where you get one true live quarter, because now, you saw in the controlled portion where the coaches are on the field, they're more hands-on. And then you go what they call the, quote, live quarters, where the coaches are still on the field, but they're not too much hands-on. They kind of let the guys go a little bit more. But now you're seeing now this would be more of a dress rehearsal for these guys, and they're going to go one live quarter.
And the Cats looking at a 3rd and 8. Gutierrez back in that shotgun. And they're going to look to throw it down the field. Gutierrez rolling out to his right, finds his receiver, Ethan Barnhart, who stays on his feet before being pushed out of bounds. Let's see if he picked up that first.
Might be just enough for a first down.
And that was big. They needed that 3rd down conversion to keep this drive going. And they're not going to do punts, correct? They are going to do punts, just no returns. There we go. So fresh set of downs for the Bearcats. Gutierrez back. Here's a snap. Gutierrez looks to pull it himself. He gets that big block in front and lots of room to the right. Passes the 50 and gets to the 45. Gutierrez a little slow to get down. He was hit maybe in the wrist area. And that's the stuff, coaches worry about, Real early scrimmage. The last thing you want is to get one of your starting players injured. So hopefully it's nothing too big.
So Lucas Cristiano was pointing to his wrist.
So Bosas comes in at the QB for Gutierrez. He pulls it, keeps it himself, going to go up that left side, finds a crack and makes something big happen there. The ball's on the floor, and there's a scramble. Everyone jumping on there. Let's see who ends up on top. Bosas shot out the gates. And it looks like the Cats were able to keep the ball on their side.
It's a little alarming. We've seen Raymondville put the ball on the turf more than once.
So big gain there. Ball on that 29 of St. Joe. Bosas still at the quarterback position. Hands it off to Barnhart. Barnhart trying to get outside, but taken down before he can get anything by that St. Joe defense. Looks like Miguel Cortez holding it down there with that big tackle. Barnhart was trying to jump out to that outside, but he just couldn't get there. Cortez was able to wrap him up.
Cortez, like I mentioned earlier, is going to be one of the anchors for that Bloodhound defense.
And you can see why. That was a great tackle there. Bosas adjusting his lone back, telling him to scoot over a bit. Let's get some spacing. Bosas pulls it down himself, right back up the middle. Tough run, picks up about 5.
St. Joe had a guy a couple of years ago. On campus, he was known as the Brow, but that's Melik Kawachi.
Oh, I remember.
Man.
I remember.
Such a good running back, such a physical running back. But I didn't realize that story that you and Luigi were telling me about, that foot race with him and Zaravion.
I'll tell you, yeah, I called that game here a couple years back, and it was once again one of those highlight reel type of games where Zaravian and St. Joe running back, his name again? Melik. I mean, these guys, tremendous athletes and runners in that open field. Melik was a special player for St. Joe, as Zaravian was here. And talking to Luigi earlier, would he say he was a sophomore that year? What did
Luigi,
he say?
I think he said he was a sophomore.
But he says he remembers that game like nobody's business, and that foot race between Zaravian and Melik. down the sideline. It just, wow, wow. Blazing speed.
Posas again.
Posas.
Well, let's hope that Gutierrez is okay, and I can imagine that his afternoon's going to be done. Not to say it's because of the injury, but just to play things on the safe side.
So first down, as Posas has been moving the ball with that offense, and they're pushing it, looking to capitalize here. They're on about the 16-yard line of St. Joe. Ball handed off once again, and there is a break tackle in the back. Picks up about 3. That's Gus Oviedo. So just chipping away at the yards. Bearcats have the ball now on the Bloodhound 18-yard line. Second and about 7. Ball handed off inside. Trying to grind is Pedro Rodriguez, but the ball is on the ground, and St. Joe recovers.
Like I said, it was a little alarming when you saw that fumble earlier in the quarter, and now most definitely that's 3 fumbles, or 3 times the ball's been put on the ground plus the interception. So that's got to be alarming.
Oh, and I'm sure Coach Cantu is going to want to talk this over. It's going to be hard to stay in games if we're going to turn the ball over like that. And, you know, their first piece of contact from other teams and so on and so forth. But just things that need to be cleaned up. So here comes St. Joe now. About the 9-minute mark. Getting close to, at least. As Gallegos is getting in there, and he's getting ready to show what he can do. At that last little possession they have, he had a nice throw to Cristiano for that touchdown at that last session. Let's see if they continue to work him through the air, keep building that confidence. And it looks like there's going to be a timeout, so we're going to take a timeout. This is Real Sports Live at Raymondville, Texas. We'll be back after this.
Of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles. How about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you. Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito.
Plan your escape. Beach, bay, or both. Sunrises and sunsets daily. Memories made all day. Live music and great food round out your visit. So why wait? SoPadre.com.
LEAD has relationships with multiple industry leaders. Whether you're looking for project-based work or long-term employment, you decide. Our industry-skilled jobs include industrial, marine industries, oil and gas, commercial construction, and renewable energy. We offer work close to home, so you can spend more time with those you love. LEAD Staffing, putting people to work and changing lives daily.
Josh Moody and Coach.
All right. Back out of the break, St. Joe with the ball now. Gallegos going to roll out, try to find something, but he finds some room up the middle as he starts to scramble, keeps on his feet, and finally taken down, but picks up about 12 yards on that. You know, I don't know if that was a set play, Kevin. You know, just a little drop back and go. But I'll tell you what, he got a good gain to get out of that end zone, give himself some breathing room behind him. Gallegos keeps the ball again. Picks up the first down.
This will be a good drive, and I don't want to say it'll be very telling, but we'll learn a lot. Coach Tino Villarreal will learn a lot from his offense and just what they can clean up and what they can work on with a drive that started really at their own 1 yard line. Can work on some things. Now the Bloodhounds at about the 15-yard line, going from right to left.
Looks like we got a player shaken up. May take a little bit, so let's get to another little break here, and we'll be back after this. Real Sports Live.
Are former Harlingen Cardinals and would like to wish all the teams good luck in tonight's games.
We're the Lady Cougars, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Plan your escape. Beach, bay, or both. Sunrises and sunsets daily. Memories made all day. Live music and great food round out your visit. So why wait? SoPadre.com.
We are the Harlingen Lady Cardinals, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
The Brownsville Independent School District continues to provide a safe environment for enriching education. From pre-K3 to early college high school, the award-winning district has advanced its legacy in curriculum, athletics, and fine arts. Teachers are driving the frontier of technology, bringing industry to the classroom. On and off the field, Brownsville ISD students engage in the experiences that make them college and career ready. Brownsville Independent School District, the best choice.
All right, let's get back at it. Here back in Raymondville, Texas at Burnett Stadium in Coach Ray Solis Field, as St. Joe now is driving the ball in their turn to make something happen. Gallegos looks out to his right, finds his receivers, breaks one tackle, still on his feet, pushed up the field, and looks like he's going to get that first down. And once again, I talk about that yard after catch. I mean, he made something out of nothing.
You know, I couldn't catch the number.
I didn't catch it either, but he almost got that first down. It looks like he got pushed out about a yard short. Gallegos back in that shotgun, hands it up the middle. There is a hole there, and then a swarm of cats get in there for that gang tackle. But a nice little run.
That was Vidaudi on that carry.
Yeah, Vidaudi gets that call. And Coach Verlau is just going to go. He's going to go no huddle, just keep moving that ball. And you said that they do those drills, Kevin, did you not? They'll put a couple minutes on the clock, and it's go, 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 go. There's Gallegos with a big hole up the middle, picks up a big gain there, and it looks like they're going to throw some flags in there too as he slid down. And once you slide, when you're the quarterback, you slide like that, you can't touch, right?
You're giving yourself up, and just a nifty run from Gallegos, and it goes back to the new dimension of this offense to where last year with Cristiano, who was a different type of quarterback, you know, they didn't have that luxury there.
A big shout out to Rudy Z, watching from Youngstown, Ohio. Rudy, RSL's very own Rudy Z. Thanks for watching us, Rudy. You got your boys here, Kevin and me. And thanks for tuning in.
Rudy just lives across the street, right across 77.
Yeah, he's a Raymondville resident. But he's all...
Wow.
Yeah, look at that.
JP Vidaudi.
Showing the skills. Flag comes out, though. Let's see what this is going to be. You know, we're talking about good old Rudy. He's a big part of Real Sports Live, and you said he lives in Raymondville now. But, you know, he's true warrior.
Santa Rosa.
Oh, that one's coming back. And I know Coach Leal's not happy about that one. Personal foul. Ball comes back after a nice athletic run. You know, we talk about, Raymondville's turnovers, and we can talk about the flags coming out for St. Joe on a big play like that. So this is the kind of stuff they're going to have to clean up before they get going. There's the rush, lots of pressure. Still on his feet, keeps going back, got rid of it. But that pressure was coming quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, Gallegos was strong enough to keep his balance. But this defense, they've been able to put some pressure.
He was trying to escape. He was trying to do everything he could to escape from that, but just too much. Couldn't get out of it. So intentional grounding, ball comes back even more. So now we're looking at a first and a mile. So now St. Joe's going to try to chip away, actually second and a mile, and they're going to have to try to chip away at some of these yards to get back close to the first down marker. Ball handed off inside and stuffed and met right away. John Torres gets in there, gives him nothing, takes him back even more.
Just a sophomore.
Yeah. A couple of sophomores on this team. Like we were saying, we saw some flashes of Ethan Barnhart, number 2 for the Bearcats, a sophomore. We talked about sophomore Slevin Gutierrez, running back that came out, sophomore Matthew Jimenez, and then here we go with John Torres, big John Torres with that good tackle right there in the backfield. Pulling back, it could be a screen play, it sure is. It's complete, got some room to run, picks up some speed, breaking away. Has a tackle to break, but boy, did he make up some ground on that run.
Eduardo Garcia just on a bubble screen there, and that's St. Joe's bread and butter. They like to go to those screens.
Slay Gutierrez saved that touchdown breaking right there. That would have been a big one for St. Joe, but it was a big gain to get them that first down. And trying to squash that momentum on that play there, on that tackle, Hunter Posas.
5.5 left in this live quarter. Most likely, it had to have been an on-field agreement because it was not on the itinerary. But we're not complaining.
Yeah, that's the thing about these scrimmages. We're just going to play it as we go. It looks like there's going to be a timeout, and that'll mean a timeout for us, and we're in this live 15 minutes. We're going to run our clock down and match with the clock here with 4:53 left in this live 15. Real Sports Live will be back after this.
I love what I do. I
love
really
what
do.
I'm doing. I love children. One of the most important things to do is to love your students.
Imagine teachers like these helping your child prepare to change the world. Take a closer look at Mission CISD.
We're the Harlingen South Lady Hawks, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Awesome!
When excellence in academics meets discovery on the court, in the arts, with institutions of higher education and beyond, we are the future leaders, and our success starts now. La Villa ISD, Cardinal Pride.
Josh Moody and Coach Rolly Gonzalez of Josh Moody Loans are former Harlingen Cardinals and would like to wish all the teams good luck in tonight's games.
We envision that San Perlita ISD will help our students acquire the necessary knowledge, communication, and problem-solving skills through a variety of educational and social experiences to become productive citizens in our global society. Be a part of the change to help create a community where we guide each other to our unlimited potential.
We are Santa Rosa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
The most important moments in a child's life happen in their earliest years. Having a strong early childhood education enhances their future and success. That's why we are opening the Harlingen CISD Early Childhood Academy.
All right, welcome back. Here we go. St. Joe with the ball, but it's stuffed before anything can happen by the Bearcats. Gus Oviedo in that backfield quickly. Thank you once again for staying with us for this scrimmage, which is the first scrimmage of the season, first one that we're streaming here on Real Sports Live of the year as well. Plenty of football coming up ahead, though. I'm telling you what, as we get going for the rest of next week, it's nonstop action from here on out, and we're all excited. There's the completion up that left sideline, pushed out of bounds at about the 18.
Humberto Flores on the reception. So up next for Raymondville, they'll have a date with Rio Grande City in their second and final scrimmage. And for St. Joe, they will be at Canales Field to take on the Porter Cowboys. And then we will roll into week 1 when Raymondville opens up their season at Rio Hondo. And then Sean Tarantola, the new head coach of Brownsville Lopez, will meet Brownsville St. Joe. Sean Tarantola, the former offensive coordinator, longtime offensive coordinator at Nicky Rowe, taking over the Lobos program for Brownsville Lopez.
So with St. Joe not getting that first down, and there's not going to be any field goals or anything like that, so the ball's going to go over to Raymondville.
Although it would have been entertaining to see St. Joe attempt a field goal yesterday, they had a couple of guys auditioning for the kicking position.
How'd that go?
A couple of guards got hit in the behind by the ball.
You got to get those soccer style players. Those are the ones that are going to do it.
They had St. Joe's got a good soccer team. Maricielo Masso, though, he's graduated, but that kid could kick it a country mile.
Ball is snapped past the quarterback, and everyone's just trying to scramble for it. Picked up, but in the end zone, just trying to get something out of it. There's a big shot. And just trying to get out of Gus Oviedo. And he lowered his head, and he brought a boom with him as he tried to get out of there. I'm not sure what happened there, but
just a bad snap, but I think Raymondville may have forgot that it's a live quarter, it's a live ball.
It's go, yeah. So Poza still at quarterback as Gutierrez's night is done. After he got a little banged up there, Poza's going to pull it down, breaks a couple tackles. But a troop of bloodhounds is there.
A pack of bloodhounds.
Pack of hounds.
So for the St. Joe fans tuning in, just a reminder that this game will be replayed tomorrow on the St. Joe channel. And we are live tonight on our social media sites on Facebook and YouTube on Rio Sports Live.
Poza's rolling out, has a receiver, but goes right through the hands. Can't get a hold of it. That's Chris Gonzalez, another sophomore in that group of that sophomore group. You know, we've been calling some sophomore names, and you know, that's promising for the Bearcats. You know, the next couple of years, getting the experience in as sophomores on that varsity level, and they could play an integral part in this season. You know, it's like we tell the younger kids, you know, you do everything you can for your seniors. We want to send our seniors off at the highest that we can, get them into the playoffs, a deep playoff run. You know, your younger guys still got some years to go, but this is it for your seniors, and you want to try to give them their best experience that they can have their senior year. So there is the punt, and once again, we can punt. There's just not going to be any returns.
So the St. Joe offense will come back out for probably their last possession. We got 2:36 left in the live quarter, so you can just call this a treat. Some OT here from this scrimmage. We weren't expecting one full live quarter.
And it's good. It's good they're getting this. You know, you can only do so much in practice. You know
Yep.
what I mean? And
Yep.
you get to these scrimmages, and you know, it's like a practice against somebody else, another team, so you're not beating up yourself. But it gives you different looks. You don't know what to expect, and it's fun. These scrimmages are good, and we're glad that these two teams could get together for this. And here we go. There's Gallegos showing his skills with his legs, and he just picks up a huge gain there. And he showcased this at the beginning of the night, and we talked about how elusive he was when he broke free. And we didn't see much on the arm, and then later on this evening we did see his arm. So he's going to come together, and there's a big shot on him, but a good catch on the receiving end.
That was Lucas Cristiano on that catch.
Gallegos took a shot before he let go of that ball, but nicely done by that duo there in St. Joe. Gallegos dropping back, ball overthrown. Incomplete.
So just under 2 minutes to go.
And that spread formation, Gallegos is back, pulls it out, runs it himself, finds himself some room to run and a little bit more, gets out to the 15.
Yeah, Raymondville brought the blitz, and Gallegos picked it up perfectly, and it was that read option, kept it himself. There's a player down at about the 29-yard line. Let's hope he's okay.
Yeah.
But really liking what I'm seeing out of Ethan Gallegos.
Oh, on his feet, he looks good. You know what I mean? And we did see that little spark through the air as well. But I think the strong suit there is going to be the scramble. You know, like you said, those options and the keepers and even you know, you have those drop backs where he doesn't see anything he likes. But by that time, the line has created. If he stays in the pocket, and he can go. The kid is quick.
Right, and he has the athletes around him to help extend those plays. And, you know, like I said last year, you know, Cristiano was not a running quarterback. You know, so having that at their disposal this year where he can run and throw just makes this offense a tad bit more dangerous, adding to what they already have. And, you know, let's not forget that Adrian Del Pozo is not here tonight, and he's their best player.
Well, I'll tell you what, I would definitely throw in some of those draw plays and just let Gallegos drop back and go. Find the hole.
Well, yeah,
where's your biggest hole?
And see, DP can play, he can run the ball out of the backfield, and he can play receiver. Like I said, he's a lot like Zaravion and what he did for Raymondville in those years.
Gallegos gets that ball out to that right side, but doesn't pick up much. And it looks like they're going to get into a fourth down situation. So they're just going to go for it on the fourth down. What are they going to lose, right?
Yeah, why not?
Guy goes back in that shotgun. Everybody spread out, rolling out to his right, looking deep, gets it off, and broken up down the field. So the Cats will get another shot to put up a couple of plays. Not much time left in this 15-minute live action. Well, let's see if Coach Cantu says, you know what, let's air it out. Let's just see what we can do down the field. Let's get the ball down there.
Yeah, here's where you can just try some things that you were working on in practice. And like I said, there's some things that you just can't work on in practice. And you got a couple of plays here, but under 2 minutes to go.
Well, they got Jacob Garza back there now, calling the plays, and handoff goes over to Pedro Rodriguez. And I talked about that kid earlier, that he was just a tough runner. He's a big, good-sized boy, and he's going to go and plow somebody. Getting to about the minute mark, as we're almost done with this scrimmage. Let's see what the Bearcats elect to do here. Handoff once again to Rodriguez, and there's some flags coming out here. Face mask. So that's going to move the ball down. So the Bearcats get that first down, about around 40 seconds left. And let's see if Coach Cantu is just going to run it out and let the clock expire, or they're just going to try to hit something deep. Me as a scrimmage, I would say, why not? Let's take a shot. Let's take a shot at the end zone.
Turn it loose.
Yeah, let it fly.
Try something that you may not try in the norm.
Ball handed off. There it is to Ethan Barnhart.
Or you can do that. Nothing wrong with that.
Looks like they're going to let this run out. Actually, they stop it, call a timeout, and see what they're going to throw up one last play. And I'm going to catch up to the stadium clock here. Stadium clock has about 12 seconds. So I think it's been a good showing on both sides. I think both sides are seeing things that they like and things that they need to work on, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think on the Bearcat side? Turnovers was one thing that we saw that they're probably going to need to clean up some.
Yeah, on the Bearcat side, the turnovers. The turnovers are some things that they're going to want to clean up. We saw them put the ball on the turf a couple of times. They had that interception in the red zone. Obviously, there's going to be some jitters. There's going to be some nerves, and that comes with the territory of being that it's a scrimmage. But, I really liked what we saw from Gutierrez.
Yeah,
Coming into tonight, I did some research and read some pretty good things on him, and he looks like he's ready to fill the part, and he's going to be that plug-in-and-play senior for the Bearcats this year, and it's in a unique district where it's them and three other teams, PI, Gruya, and Bishop. So, Skyline Designs, old Hector can print the playoff shirts.
Get them ready.
Get them ready and take sizes. But, it's a matter of just seeding on the St. Joe side. Same thing with the quarterback. I liked what I saw with Gallegos. The defense got off to a little bit of a slow start, but bolted down just a little bit. And, they're still missing DP. He'll be back soon. And, offensively, I think they got more weapons than I think a lot of people might have thought.
Yeah, I agree with you on both of those things. Raymondville Gutierrez did a fine job. Saw a lot out of Big Nick Gomez as well. Hunter Posas all over the field. We threw in Ethan Barnhart's name as well. They're going to be all right. Once they get things going a little bit more under their belt, they're going to be fine. On the St. Joe side, Gallegos, he's going to be stellar. Once that ball, when he pulls that ball down, whether it's a draw or scramble, he's going to make things happen. And then we saw those little bits of what he can do in the air too. And once he gets more confident, and once his receivers and him get on the same page, that's going to be a fun offense to watch.
Absolutely, and St. Joe, in their district, it's as competitive as it gets, and it's as tough as it gets with the teams they have to compete of outside of the valley. But St. Joe's just looking to get to the playoffs and to make some noise, and they have the pieces in play this year. And like I said, they are a full step ahead of where they were last year at this point in the season.
And I'm sure Coach Rodriguez is excited about that. Oh, it looks like Rainbow's going to get a field goal attempt out there. And say, why not? Let's see what our kicker can do. So this should be fun. Might as well get it in, right?
Mm-hmm. Pretty fired up for a field goal.
St. Joe trying to give them as much distraction as they can. And here's the snap, the kick. It's up. Just a bit short. Had the right alignment, just needed a little bit more. And field goal attempt is no good.
No score in the live portion.
Yeah, no score. And I don't know, we're just going to call that right there. Let that clock, those 3 seconds expire.
Yeah, they are.
And this one is done in the books. And it was a great night. Welcome back, football.
Yes, welcome back, high school football in our beautiful state of Texas. And what a better way to kick it off here in Willacy County with Brownsville St. Joe, Tino Villarreal's Bloodhounds, and Frank Cantu's Raymondville Bearcats. Final thoughts, Muggs.
You know, it's good all-around football. Just glad to be back. I think both teams are going to be both very, very competitive. And, you know, little things that need to clean up, and they're going to get there. I'm sure both coaches saw things that they liked, and they saw things that they didn't like. You know, just like anybody else is going to be after their first game. So they're going to go back to the drawing boards, get back to those practices, work on what they need to, study their film, and just get better every day. And it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to watching both these teams throughout the season and keeping up with them. And I'm just glad football is back, Kevin, and I'm excited and fired up. And let's get after it. It's going to be a great season.
So that wraps up our coverage here from Raymondville. Volleyball tomorrow on Championship Saturday at Mac High and Donna High. Be sure to tune into that. On behalf of myself, Kevin Aro, Joe Bowling, and everyone at Real Sports Live saying so long.